I have a story about my cat catching a bird, me being naked, and a neighbour watching me from afar.
I'm worried about what you just said.
Yeah,
We're going to get fired from Twitch somehow.
It's meant to simulate the pressure of being in the womb.
Yeah, I'm going to lift up my mug, have a drink, and people are going to see my name written on the bottom of like I'm Andy from Toy Story.
Boxes are in boxes.
But think of the carriages behind. They could be pocketeers linked up a la Human Centipede.
No.
Wine is the ejaculate of grape.
Right, okay, great.
Island sink, water up, island sink, water go up, water up, island down confirmed.
I think I use my I pick it up and I'm like, oh, what's this? Whose mug is it?
Ridiculous.
Hey, I'm Nick Meyer. Welcome to Back Pocket 4. Should have looked up the date. Thursday the 17th of September. Tonight on the show, a PS showcase, a unpacking masterclass, and a nightmare of a Spelunky 2 run. I can't do it alone, though, so that's why I brought
Gus, who went back to his boat and shall sail no more.
Oh, that's the saddest end to that story. And Stephanie, who's having a bit of an existential hair crisis. I opened suggestions up to the group, but please don't say black, but I think I want to change the colour. I think I want to do something crazy, but not yet. Like, I feel like I want future craziness. Like, I want to plan to do something impulsive, but like in the future.
Thanks for joining us on Back Pocket.
And of course,
Peter, I'm totally cool with my hair.
your hair looks great.
I just got a fresh fade.
Yeah, you did.
So no recommendation. Thank you very
Short
much.
version of your
Keep your
hair
mouth shut.
crisis.
I want to say that I offered to cut Steph's hair again, and she politely declined.
Oh, God.
This one for the screenplay crowd.
Yeah, there you go. That was a bad time.
We had a very important conversation about boundaries.
I'm here to tell you, it's the second worst thing I've ever done in my entire life.
But it is funny because I've and having worked with you guys and other people in TV, there is an element of when the camera's rolling, that thing that you wouldn't do, let's just do it. And it used to happen to name drop, one of the famous ones is Barjo, who has a terrible back and, looks after himself really delicately. If the camera's on and he wants to do a somersault onto a concrete floor, he'll do it. He did it. And we're
it's exactly the kind of maniacal magic that makes you so good as a presenter.
Yeah.
But it's also like a loose cannon.
Yeah.
It's simple. There's a very simple rule, and it's fine for that to happen to me. I just don't do it to anybody else. And we learned that rule that day, and we have never crossed it since. I guess this is my way of saying I'll be doing a hair cutting stream of myself coming up, so you keep an eye out for
You
that.
could do your kids.
No, I don't cut my kid's hair. She does that. It's not. I don't want to get into
Banjo's
that.
got pretty stylish. When you guys go out and have your little photos together, you guys both look very trendy. So it's none of those bowl haircuts, none of dad with the clippers, come here, I can do this.
Pride. Look at that smiley face.
Yeah.
I made this genuine. I cannot tell you how much I just absolutely adore those kids. They're the best thing in the world. So you can say whatever you want about them as long as it's positive.
I said nice things.
I know. Continue.
Yeah, right. He had a bit of charisma on the news stream.
I know.
Came in there, had a little chat to everyone on the stream, and then, picked his moment to leave. You said say hi, and he went, bye.
Yeah. Fucking boss.
He nailed Skirovic, though.
He did. He did. Not like his old man. That being said, I probably would nail Skirovic. So, Skirovic, if you want to come in here for some loving, by all means. Skirovic, certainly hope you're over 18. How is everybody doing for the evening? Thank you very much for joining us. We've had a very big week. This has probably been the biggest week, I would say, Peter, of Back Pocket history.
In terms of the content we put out this week.
Launch week was pretty big.
Launch week was huge, but that was a one big thing. But News Monday evening was our first look back. Tuesday, we recorded a bunch of playbacks and one went live. Mm-hmm. Wednesday, news. So last night we also did a stream on Immortals Phoenix Rising. Mm-hmm. That stuff's up on the YouTube channel now. And
another playback.
Now we're at Thursday.
We were having a conversation where we were like, is this too much content?
Yeah.
Are we going to be bombarding our community with too much stuff?
I think I tweeted the other week, I was like, one of the ways I gauge how much I'm enjoying what I'm working on is sometimes looking at, because everything just goes on YouTube now, regardless of what I've worked on, looking at the thumbnail page of all the content that goes up, and if it's all cohesive, it has a nice style guide to it, everything looks nice, everything's planned. I was like, I look at that sometimes and go that's my last 3 weeks of work together with everyone, but it's a nice metric for it. I looked at what we've done in the however long we've been up for, a couple of months or something, and I'm like, good God, this is too much. And if we keep this going, we're gonna feel out like we're in actual full
But it
production.
ebbs and flows, though, doesn't it? It
I
depends
hope
when
so.
there's like
Ready for
sometimes
an
there's a
ebb.
dry spell for games, and it'll be like Back Pocket does a look at this obscure Steam game, and also Nick cuts his hair.
That is, I guess, a precursor to lead into next week, which is a busy week for Low Key. And on Thursday, we're busy with another production on Thursday next week. So we will be doing this show on Wednesday evening. We'll keep reminding you throughout the week, but early heads up for that.
Nice.
Absolutely. And I'm seeing a ton of people in chat were like, no, we love the content. More content, more. Pete, can I come and sing? Listen to you, piece of shit. You paid for tonight's show and the playbacks. We've added a bunch more for free, and it's time you cough up. So if you want more content, you spit those dollars straight in our mouths. I want you to dribble it. Just, I don't know what I'm talking about. Basically, I'm saying I want your moolah, and to give me your moolah, you need to go to patreon.com/backpocket. But there is an upside. The upside is you get to be a part of the wonderful Discord community. You also potentially get some logos that Gus has assured me will get drawn before the year 2022. And you also get some commercials if you go at a certain tier. And we see another one of those tonight.
That's true,
Which
yes.
I haven't even seen.
Oh.
And I'm so excited that I didn't get a chance to watch before the
And the way the production works is that it will play out in front of us, but we won't hear it in the space. So you guys will hear it, and you'll hear it before Nick does. And it's definitely a hearing ad.
I was like, it's literally just words. So thank you very much preemptively for your money. Fuck you for not paying us if you haven't. And then a future thank you.
Really goes hot and cold on those ones, doesn't he?
The money that you will give us. But if you have a free Amazon Prime sub, then we'll take that as well, because we're getting some.
Yeah.
We're nearly partner.
I think so. Yeah,
think
actually
So close.
when that happened.
Well, like we're technically. We've
Registered.
qualified,
We've
right?
You've achieved the required number of hours. It's now just on Twitch's ends to bestow us with the
I shouldn't scream we've
privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but we have press X for partnered.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Well, achieving is a euphemism.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Like that's
Erection.
Is it?
Yes. Achieving is I have achieved, like I have completed.
I mean, sure, you can say that about anything.
That's a very loose link, I think.
Can I tell you?
That's what I call mine.
this is post-show stuff, but yes, finish on this.
I actually think it's just because I say it all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why you think that lots of people say it?
I feel like it was a
Because I shouted at the end of coitus.
Yeah, true.
Chat is saying
Is it true? Why
I
do
know.
you know?
Chat is saying it's not. Chat is like that's
I'm with
a stretch.
chat. Yeah.
I feel like it's what's Ryan, sexy Ryan Canadian.
Ryan Reynolds?
Ryan Reynolds.
Jim Carrey.
That thing he did when he was young and he was like before
Van Wilder.
Van Wilder.
Why do I know all this
Van
so
Wilder.
quickly?
I looked at you because you're wearing a backwards cap.
Two guys are going to pizza place. I'm like these idiot savant of Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, that movie is confronting.
Winding it back a little bit, yeah. So I think we're close to partner, which means we can hopefully, when that all goes through, we can celebrate with more emotes, more pocketies, and ones that people have been sending in as well, which would be great. But we'll also do like a special pockety has achieved.
And it's the resolution as well. Don't we get do you get the choice to put it in whatever resolution?
That's the big thing.
Yeah,
That is great. We may have it tonight. I don't know. As an affiliate, it's based on the server allocation, so the users being able to choose what quality they're watching. So hopefully we get that, and then we never have a problem with people not being able to watch because they don't have the bandwidth because they live in Australia.
Hey, our country sucks. All right, it's time to move on. I think that's everything.
Yeah.
I think that's everything.
Yeah.
We hope you guys are having a good night. We're very thankful that you're here. Let's jump into the show, as we always do, with a little what you been playing. What you been playing? I'm just saying. What you all been playing? This one is brought to you by
Keep it up.
Jones. Okay.
How high can you go?
It's Loki Cat. Couldn't get there in the end. We all know Loki Cat. Loki
do.
Cat. Half man.
Half cat.
Yep.
No, I think I remembered this actually because he was saying in the chat that he was like, I put this in my bio when you did the logo for me, and Loki Cat I think is a lyric in a Smashing Pumpkins
Nothing to do with cats.
No.
apparently.
or a book. I think.
No,
Doesn't have a cat. Doesn't like cats.
He rides over pumpkins on his bikes.
Oh, yeah,
Doesn't
Smashing
even like
Pumpkins.
cats.
I can't remember. I
don't know what song Loki Cat is in.
It's either a lyric or it's like something. Well, yeah, it's a reference to
Why
a
would you
lyric.
bring it up if you didn't actually research this?
Because
Well,
I did
to
when
be
I made
fair,
the logo.
I didn't know who Ryan Reynolds was.
So look, it's a song by Jimmy Chamberlain, says Loki Cat, drummer of
there you
Smashing
go.
Pumpkins.
There you go.
Pumpkins.
Smashing
The
Pumpkins.
song is called Loki Cat.
There you go.
And you're right. He's actually he's got a bird kink actually.
Ah.
Yeah.
The man likes his cockatiels. Don't know what infix that was, but yeah, he's got a really cute bird. He sent me a photo because I drew him as a bird for some reason.
This is
in
why
the
we need
logo,
the
and I said like
single to just really crash in on the awkward.
really come in.
like-
those ones.
Yeah,
Big up.
you need a Gus single that just has a default like slow zoom.
It has that in
yeah.
The Simpsons, like the wavy heat lines to show straight has been added.
Because what we're listening
And then
to
like a
right-
gentle fade of just some like really traumatizing music.
No, it would
Totally.
be,
As it
what's the meme?
slowly zooms in on his
the
face.
Hello Darkness, my old friend. It'd be that
yeah,
coming
yeah.
in every time I tell the story.
what
But then
just
it
happened
just
there?
fades out your voice.
We witnessed you trying to roll back a comment which was essentially this man sleeps with birds, and then you were like, oh, but actually he's, and then you just were, it was done. Pete and I made eye contact.
The real part of the story was that I was drawing a bird for the logo, and I was like, send me a picture of the bird you have, because I want it to be that one. He said, be a really cute cockatiel. Like, they've got the rosy cheeks, the little mohawk up the top, and it was adorable. If I was to get a bird, I would get a Loki cat.
Loki
cockatiel.
bird.
That's not my robot is trying to start a hashtag or several hashtags, including get Gus a single. Gus needs a single for Gus.
Gus is single. You
Yeah,
forgot that
that's
one.
good. We just talked about
I mean,
J-Life.
we're all working around that, but I like the get Gus a single.
All right. Well, I'm sure that when Loki Cat went to the Patreon and was like, you know what, I'm going to pay $250 a month to own a segment.
They might mention my name once.
Yeah, he definitely had in mind that we implied that he's some sort of avian pimp. So there you go. That's what you get here on Back Pocket. What else do you get? Games that we've been playing this week. Pete, start us off.
I will start us off. Yeah, here we go. This is a game called Inertial Drift, which is kind of a silly name, but it is an effective name for this game. Because it is literally about holding the right trigger and then turning hard.
God, that's a drift.
how driving-
It's not a drift.
It's amazing. It's actually really fun. It's a game built on a single mechanic. Obviously, the aesthetic is really cool, but to touch on the mechanic first, it is like an arcade racer. The left stick is steering, but the right stick is to just flick the back of the car around.
Yeah.
And so if you're turning right, you will turn right, and then you'll turn right with the left stick, and then flick the back of the car out to turn harder. And it feels good in practice. I played without watching the trailer or anything. I just saw it on Steam. I was like, this looks cool. These guys play it a lot better than I know how to. There is, I think, a bit of a skill kind of tier in this where you kind of like, you can enjoy it at this channel.
I suck at driving.
Yeah, that's what this channel.
I'll skip ahead to some actual gameplay.
Well, this is cool as well. 'Cause
sorry.
it's like I started playing the career mode, and it kind of just drip feeds you into the whole process of it. But it's like,
is there a story?
It looks like a dating sim.
there's not really a story, but it's like
Like a dating sim, but like a cool crazy driving movie thing. What's it called?
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
But also, like,
My brain
everyone's
is
very
working.
attractive.
where are all these people coming from? There were like 30 people in that scene.
Hanging around the car. No, they're all here.
They're here to watch the 10-second cars drift.
He does not fit in that car. She doesn't fit in that car. None of these people fit in their cars.
So there's a bit of a. I feel like there's a bit of a. I mean, there's cell shading in lots of different places.
It also
but
looks like
it's
it's like-
really just on the cars and maybe those trees.
It
Yeah.
looks like
They do stand out a little bit
Yeah,
on the road, which
it looks
is
like
probably a good thing.
Gus's 80s, what do you call it?
Avexia.
Vaporwave aesthetic.
Vaporwavy kind of one.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
funny because, oh, sorry, yeah, you go.
Yeah, I mean, you'll know more about this than I will, and this is such a Gus game, but it's like, it's a very 80s aesthetic, but it's actually a very 90s cartoon in all the cutscenes and stuff like that. Like I mean, you can't tell in the game because it's meant to be high. This is like high frame rate gaming, but all the cutscenes are like at like maybe 16 frames a second or something. It's got this really cool kind of movement to it. It feels awesome.
What's the soundtrack like?
The soundtrack is sick as well.
Yeah, cool.
It's really like synthy and Daft Punky and
cool.
What's really interesting is that there's another game out at the moment, which name I forget. The chat will probably know. That
Ryan
is
Reynolds.
Correct. It is a drift-based retro racer in the style of more of your Daytona USA vibe, it's kind of got full blocks of cell shading, which is what I thought you were playing when you mentioned I'm doing a drifting retro game, which I think a lot of people are talking about at the moment. It just got a review out. Same kind of thing. It's like it's all about the drift. It's these big wide tracks. It's super arcadey, but it's gone for like that early 90s arcade look, whereas this has got a little bit more polish to it, but it looks just as fun. But strange to see two of these games out at a very similar time.
And it is a small game. It's not expensive. It was like $22, I think, but it's like it doesn't feel like there's some cool modes in it as well. Like it is arcadey and like there is drift racing, but there's also like
It's got hair physics.
there's like oddball style thing where you gain points when you're in front, and then the other person gains points when they're in front. So it's it's like neck and neck kind of stuff.
Is it like there are plenty of games, but for whatever reason, Geometry Wars is the one that's sticking out to me. That sort of like friend leaderboard, beat your mates thing, or is it this single player story is more just about like complete these races?
Yeah, I've really only been in the single player story part, and I didn't see that there, but there's obviously an emphasis on setting the best time you possibly can. It's more like Trials, I guess, in that like you try and gold every objective as opposed to well, I mean, Trials obviously has pitting you against your friends, but in terms of the campaign of it, you're just trying to gold every spot on the map.
Yeah.
And the courses all feel different.
Was the indicator at the bottom showing you when you're drifting out to a side? What's the idea with the two lines there?
I have no clue.
Because I was going to say, you're not building a boost by the looks of it. There's no nitros or anything like that.
No.
It's showing you...
I think it's like, it's showing you how much you're braking by doing that as well. So like, obviously... there's you want to strike the balance of like, because you can brake with the left trigger as well, and that just kicks the car around even further. Like they probably just released the accelerator there, but it's like, you do lose speed when you turn sideways, obviously. I mean, inertia, right? Physics. So, that's cool. Fun. Like, if anyone's interested in arcade races, this has a fun mechanic that's like probably worth checking out for the price.
No video game should have the word inertial in the title.
Yeah, probably not.
It's like it's not a fun word to say. It's not a memorable word. It's a word that I have to think about before I say.
You trip over a little bit at the end, don't you?
Yeah, that's not. So I guess you shouldn't play this game. No, it does. I actually played. There's a demo on Steam, I think.
Yeah,
right. What I did, is that how I got this? Maybe I got a code, but I think I got a demo. And I played a little bit, but I made the mistake of playing with mouse and keyboard, and that is not a good way to play.
Yeah, no, I was playing with the controller.
But fun. It does, it does feel cool, and I haven't played as much as you, but yes, very enjoyable.
Speaking of 80s synthwave and weird art styles,
please,
Nick.
Oh, that's a great transition.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thrown because normally I would do that, but you just picked it up and were like.
And you just dropped it on the floor.
He's campaigning for his single. Yeah. He wants your single.
You really
Guys, get that vote.
Do you want the...
Can I have my trio?
Oh, yep.
Guys, if you thought that was a good segue, then put the vote in there for Get Gus a Single. Hashtag Get Gus a Single.
We should make that a stretch cam on the Patreon.
A stretch cam, yeah.
A stretch goal, because we could then we could get another camera with the money.
Hey?
But it could be a shitty little, like, it could be one that uses tape.
There's theoretically, I could use the software.
Oh my god, look at his brain.
Punch in.
To send a specific scene to a separate stream. We'll do a co-stream, and it's just called Back Pocket the Gus Cam, and it's literally just sits on a Gus single the whole time.
I'm there already.
I like that.
I've achieved.
Good, excellent. Yes, okay, good transition, because yes, the first game that I've been playing this week, well, actually last week, but I've been desperate to play again this week, and I'll actually play next week, so I don't even know why I'm talking about it, but it is Paradise Killer. The reason I'm talking about it is that it went up this week on the channel as a playback.
Oh, this is Penis Hands?
Yes, it is. Penis Fingers, Stephanie. So Paradise Killer is a very Nick game. It is a murder mystery investigation, like
They all are you.
puzzle game. And it's got that real Danganronpa Zero Time Dilemma vibe about it. But
It's so weird.
it has stacks of style to it as well. So all I've played is what I played in the playback, and I loved it so much that I went, oh, this is a game I want to experience with you guys, and I want to play it with you. So I want to stream this game. I obviously couldn't start streaming it until the playback came out, and then we have streamed every single night since that happened. So I'll probably start next week. But the whole vibe of this game is just so... like, it has such a look, it has such a feel, the music slaps, it is so good.
Is there voice acting in it, or is it just text?
Bits and pieces.
Those little
Yeah,
like
okay.
sort of they start with a line and then
Oh,
it
okay.
writes more.
And then like,
But what I know about this game, which is not the point of this segment at all, where I just tell you what I've read about it. Okay.
Hey, what you been reading about games?
Totally. But that you basically, once you go out to the point where I end the playback and the sort of island is open to go investigate, that's it. Like, that's kind of all the hand-holding the game does. And then you just need to go out, start collecting clues, piecing together this murder mystery, and then when you feel like you have enough evidence, you go back to the judge and start a trial and point the finger at somebody. And what it feels like already, but particularly from what I've heard, is, Steph, have you played the Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective board game?
I don't know. I played the one that you.
We literally played this last weekend.
No, I know,
Oh my god, Pete's face was
but I don't know if it's called. Is it called Consulting Detective?
The get the newspapers.
Yeah, the
take
10
down the-
cases in a box.
Because
Sorry.
I only say that because there's a bunch of different Sherlock Holmes like tabletop games out there. So I was just trying
How
to
many
confirm
did you play
the one
last
that
weekend?
he played.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we played it just recently.
I want to Ralph Wiggum style rewind that footage and see the moment that Pete's memory and heart breaks when he's like, ha ha ha. Steph just goes, what? And he just goes, no. Like, he suddenly thinks for a second, maybe we didn't play.
Maybe that was a fever dream.
Yeah, that was a banjo face. Yes, so that game, which I love, Sherlock Holmes, you get this case and you basically just get this case book. There's 2 pages of setup of this is the murder that you need to solve.
It's basically a tabletop game of reading,
It very much is.
but in a fun way.
And but the point of it is you finish this this is the murder, and then you go, well, all right, what are we gonna do? And then it's like, let's go to the crime scene, and then you flick to the pages where at the crime scene, it's the details about the crime scene, and then you start reading through that. And so it's literally like, I can go do whatever I want, and I'll piece it. And that's what this game has, is this feeling of like,
Right.
okay, I'm gonna
It's
go.
not forcing you in any particular order of like discovery.
Yeah, and you need to make all the links between like, oh, this piece of information feels like it relates to this and blah, blah, blah. So it feels like a game that should be played with other people in the same way that Sherlock does, which is why I want to stream it, because it feels like something that we can all enjoy together. So
Also, just to be honest, like, if you played this by yourself and not other people out there, I just think it'd be weird. Like, I love the idea of sharing this with people in its surrealness and strangeness. I feel like if I sat there at home playing this game, I'd be like, I don't know why what's the appeal here for, there's the weird, wacky art style, but I want to laugh at it. I want to be like, or enjoy it actively.
yeah, no,
Too strange for me, I think.
You're very correct. I genuinely like these games and enjoy them, but I am delighted when I share that experience with someone else, because it's fun to make fun of them, even though I love it.
Yeah.
I think any kind of like wacky experience, I mean, like I would say the same in a different way applies to like Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yeah.
That game was like so intense and harrowing and weird, and
You need to turn to someone
unexpected.
next to you and say, what? And
that was not something that I would have wanted to play alone.
Yeah.
So that's like
Totally. So come play this game with me at some point next week. But yeah, I really love what I've played so far. And then the other thing I've been playing, which I won't talk too much about because we'll play it later on in the show, is Spelunky 2.
Aw.
And so
Yay.
it came out on PS4 this week. It's coming
Spelunk on
PC
the moon.
at the end of the month. Derek Yu, the developer, just apparently needs to just sort out some netcode stuff on PC that just takes...
Poor guy has just been making the game pretty much by himself almost by the sounds of it.
Yeah,
Give him a
totally.
breather.
And so I have been thoroughly enjoying my time with Spelunky
Good.
2. Spelunky 1, a game that I really liked, but feel like I never spent enough time with you know how with platformers it's all about just getting the feel for the running and the jumping and Spelunky has a slowness to its inertia.
He's linking it back to you, Peter.
Yes, sorry, I was just listening to
Inertia racing racing,
as opposed to a lot of other games, which I never really keyed into because I would play it for a bit and then I'd drop off. And it really is a game that you kind of need to play for 6 to 7 hours to really get that feel, and then you love it. And so I was determined to do more with Spelunky 2. And while I'm not amazing at it yet, instantly it felt like, I don't know if anything's actually changed in terms of the movement and stuff, but it felt like something where my brain grokked it easier. But I will say that the first world is definitely way harder than the first in the original of the original, because this thing just kills you at every single opportunity.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's all those little hidden ones too. It's the spider above you. It's the spike trap you weren't looking at. The spear that comes out of the wall. All that stuff. I think from what I've read, people have said who are diehard fans of the original that the movement feels and plays just as tight as the original. So I guess they're veterans of it. One of the things I do remember from the first game is that you could hold a button to slow down to walk, or maybe it's just this one, but you can also hold like right trigger in the air to slow yourself down. So when you jump with inertia, you can slow that inertia down to walking speed falling.
Yeah, right.
So it's a way of controlling your mid. It's got some of the best.
Oh, I haven't even noticed that. Okay,
Well,
cool.
maybe it was in the original, but it was like it's just got some of the best in-air momentum and inertia control that is kind of chaotic. But I imagine the second you get it under control, it's just like it feels really tight.
Yeah, totally. And it does. And the interesting thing about it, like I said, I didn't play tons of the original Spelunky, but I watched a lot of it. This game feels like a genuine progression in tons and tons of ways, but it also feels like a remix of the first game in a positive way.
Yeah, cool.
So, like those traps where it's like it was the column and like the spikes would come out on either side. So in this one, like that kind of thing. In this one, they exist, but in the first level, those spikes have punching gloves on them. And so instead of just getting like spiked, it knocks you back. It hits you real hard and it knocks you back and just causes you to fall into something that you do not want to. Like, it does things where you go like, oh, I remember this from the first one, and you've put this like cute twist on it that has engaged me in a new way with it. And
I think this is the end of the trailer just shows a death that obviously the devs recorded that was just like, I'll just go back a tad. These are those things that people get as memories in this game where that's like a regular death, but I think right at the end they go, this is obviously they captured a moment that just went absolute batshit. And I'm okay, I can live through this. No, wake up. Land on a mine as well. Lose all 3 hearts. Down you go. Hit a spring trap. Like, come on, game.
Gosh.
And I love the idea that because it's procedurally generated, that's the developer being like, what have I made?
Yeah.
And again, like these kinds of games, like that sort of stuff happens all the time. I have had so many times where it's like, I get through world 1-1, I get through 1-2, and I've got like 1 health left, and I'm like, okay, I'm there, I'm at 1-3. And I just run out of the level and I take 2 steps and I just completely like blow up, something drops on me because I was so excited to get into the gameplay that it's like, you should have stopped and just looked before you. So yeah, it's tons of fun. So we'll play a bit later tonight, but yeah, I'm really, really excited to spend more time with it. I've just been thinking about it constantly.
Pete and I played the first one on Vita. We both had a Vita and were playing that, I remember, on a summer holiday once. Instead of going outside in the sun on a beach house, we both sat inside playing, just playing Spelunky. It was delightful. Good holiday memory.
So you do beach and snow trips?
Well, Pete was sunburnt, so he had to stay inside.
Okay.
He burns easily, don't you?
And true to most of the things that Gus and I have supposedly done together, I have no recollection of.
Pete, cut to my sad single.
Is this where you? Is this also where you saw the play?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's the post-show sad.
Oh god. So that's what I've been playing. Angus, regale us with Tales of the Wind.
Peter, give me my trio.
Here we go.
I went back, guys. I went back to Windbound.
Hey.
I went back to my boat. If anyone was watching the show last week, they'll know that I was a big fan of this game in development and was playing it on the Switch. And it's a small development team from Brisbane, and it's a really ambitious kind of Zelda clone that utilizes this sailing mechanic. However, the game is just a bit clunkier than expected. and it had some serious crashes and bugs that were causing me to really struggle to proceed with it. And I got about halfway through and had some real progress, and I had a hard crash and lost a heap of progress. And I was so angry at that game that I tweeted at the game and said never again. But I tweeted and said maybe I'll come back. And I totally flaked.
Immediately, 12 minutes later, was like,
that's
I'm
my.
playing it again.
And so, but the thought of coming back and having another run at these survival mechanics still really appealed to me. And I knew it wasn't a massive game from what I'd read, and I was like, I reckon I could knock this out in another day or two. So this is my gameplay, but I did go back to the game, and I will show you just briefly. I'll alt tab over to. I only had a bamboo boat last time, but guys. That's the HMS Goose right at the end, and we're talking hardwood hulls. That's a tri hull. That's a trimaran.
You've got a fire on that.
Yeah,
I have a fire. I have a what do they call the thing on the other side where you make clay and stuff? A kiln. I have a kiln, a fire, an extra bag, and I was
Sorry. It got rapidly unimpressive after kiln.
No, if you
kiln, I was like, a kiln on a boat. That's fucking dope. And then it was, I have an extra bag.
Nick, if you've had to deal with a storage system in this game, you would understand that an extra bag means the world, because the item management is a bit of a nightmare. But so I went back and I persisted on with the game, and I played on the hardcore mode, and I did finish it. So look, I won't say it was a huge
You did
highlight.
finish it?
I did, yes.
Oh, wow.
And I went through the 4 chapters. I think each chapter is almost identical, just in the sense that it has a procedural generated area full of islands. I think by the 4th one.
So what is the challenge?
The challenge is the islands get harder. You have tougher enemies that hang out on them. There are new biomes that open up in the 3rd and 4th chapter.
Right.
But I do think by that stage, the game wants you to really not just focus on the 3 towers that you have to unlock to get to the end of that chapter. It says, hey, you've got good gear now. Why don't you experiment and go to different islands just for the sake of it? But there's no real point. Like, once you've got your boat to a point you like, once you've got all the gear you need to survive, once you've got all your food and managed, you just think, all right, I'll go to the end. There's not really a boss fight, and you finish the game. Then there's no come back and play New Game Plus mode. There was no real sense of like, take that boat now and just sail freely and enjoy the game. It just ended. My credit scene bugged out. All the textures went messed up, and I was like, I beat you, game.
Yeah.
I came back. I finished this. And look, if you really do like survival games like I do, there is quite a bit of fun to be had here. But I was saving every 10 minutes. Like, it was a weird kind of knee-jerk reaction I had by the end of it.
You say that you beat the game. I feel like the game beat you.
Look,
the game broke you and made you finish it.
Quite possibly. So anyway, put a pin in that.
Sorry, can I just ask,
please,
what actually was it that made you come back? Was it a hate finish, or was it
50-50. Hate finish, but also the sailing and the idea of building my boat up.
Yeah.
And also, look, that
because
crash...
it's primarily boat focused, right?
It is, yeah, and resource management. And that hard crash that I had made me think, okay, while I did lose a lot of progress, I learnt it quite a little bit in
That's
that
what
run.
we always tell each other, like ourselves, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
when you have written something that's 4 pages long and you lose it all, you're like, oh, but
I could never
you know
write
what?
that again.
I'm going to write a better version now, and this is just forcing me to do that. So it's really a good thing that I lost it all.
Well, yeah, it meant that I could go and not waste time trying to build a bamboo boat. I knew what I needed to build other elements of it. The game wasn't as hard as I thought as well by the time I'd taken it a little slower. But anyway, yep, so I finished that. So
Skirovic wants to know, did Gus achieve?
Yeah.
I did, yes. I sailed straight to achievement.
I was going to say, RecTech AU said Gus came back for the achievement.
But the other game I've been playing this week, a very different game, is called BPM, which I believe is bullets per minute in this case. And this is a first-person roguelike that is a dungeon crawler that kind of feels heavily inspired by your Quakes, your Unreals, your Dooms, all that sort of stuff. And for the audience who are probably hearing this a little louder than us, I'll show the trailer in a second. It's a rhythm-based game, so as you see the reticule up the middle there, you need to shoot, reload, and jump on the beat, or half beats occasionally,
What?
to keep a multiplier going in the top right,
Oh.
and that also ups your damage. So, oh, sorry, that's me. What's going on? That's... Yep, I just scrubbed. I'll move a little bit more interesting further up. But basically, it gets your damage multiplier up, and the music in it is fantastic. It's not my style of music, but I'm totally digging it. The art style is really cool. There's like this cel-shaded but also like overexposed kind of palette that's really, really kind of really cool to look at. And yeah, you clear rooms like a roguelike. So when you kill every enemy, it says how well you did. You'll get a chest. That'll give you coins. You can choose to, what do you call it? Like
fanfare as well, like a This is all 80s kind of.
Yeah, it's like glam rock kind of stuff. Where you pick up a new gun and new guns fight in different ways. If I can find a brief moment which sounds really fantastic, and sorry to have to scrub to it, the boss battles are really cool because this is the thing that...
Is that a chicken?
It's a giant chicken that runs the store.
That's amazing.
Isn't it like it's like someone's just gone to town with the design and gone like, I'm just going to go a bit crazy with it all. So it's very cool in that sense. And if I can skip to a boss, here we go. This is the moment, if we can turn it up a tiny bit, Pete. The boss fights are up the tempo. I'll go back just a tad. So the tempo goes up suddenly and you can shoot faster. But also when you finally kill the boss with the health bar, you hit this like sustained rock tune, and every hit you hit to kill him at the end sounds like a solo. So here we go.
Yeah, there we go.
And
It is so satisfying.
Even the like theatrical campness of him going.
Yeah.
So
What a cool concept. That's so
really,
original.
really cool. And just musically, I'll just play like the first 20 seconds of the trailer as well, just to give you the idea of what else is in this game, because I couldn't. Oh my lord.
That's my game,
That's your
guys.
game. I apologize.
Spoilers. Can we listen to this?
So listen to just the start of this.
Yep.
This sounds like it would be something so good in VR.
Yes.
I mean, you'd get very sick, I suppose, if you're walking around
Yeah.
shooting. But like, I guess just combining the
Like a Beat Saber style shooter.
the music rhythm element of it.
But yeah,
also,
some real
like,
Iron Maiden vibes and that kind of stuff. And
Some camp
hopefully it's
metal.
not blasting out of the speakers anymore, Pete. But yeah,
It's gotta
cool
be
game.
like they saw Necrodancer and were just like, oh,
yep.
we can add Doom to like you added like a dungeon crawler to this. We could add Doom to it because it's like that's one of those just like simple.
It's just a great blend.
Ideas.
And
the idea that the guns also reload and cock in interesting musical ways as well.
Yeah, well, it's more that they have different stages of reloading, and so some might just be like cock and reload.
Yeah.
Some are like cock, reload, change, and you've got to therefore press it 3 times.
Yeah, right.
So you need to have 3,
Yeah,
but you can go on the beat like click, 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 or you can do the half beats go click, click, click if you want to get better at it, and obviously you miss them and you lose your combo. But yeah, really, really cool game. And the last thing I was going to say about it was what I love about roguelikes in particular, and I love like Enter the Gungeon and all those kind of ones, is that they are pick up and put down games. So you pick them up, you have a few runs.
Then what do?
You do your dash, you put it down. But this game, it almost like demands it of you, because you play for 10, 15 minutes and you put it down and your eyes are pulsing, your ears are ringing, you're like, you've got sort of like this almost sort of just twitch-based kind of reaction. Your heart is pumping really fast. You've just got this, I went to my desktop and just started moving icons around faster. I was like, just slow down.
Cool, because rhythm stuff engages you in a completely different way.
Totally.
Because it kind of puts you into a specific zone.
Yeah,
it's a
like,
trance.
imagine it
Yeah.
being really intensely addictive, but also like you would just lose so much time in there without realizing.
Yeah, so I'm keen to get into this and get past like the first 2 dungeons I've been in, where I've only really had like single firing weapons and a couple of bosses. So having heaps of fun with that.
Is it just PC?
I am not 100% sure. I'm playing it on PC currently, but we might look into that and just triple check. But yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's just PC.
Just PC.
I would say that it looks appropriately disgusting.
this area got a bit gross.
Good, but it looks like
But how cool-
perfect for
if
it.
you're gonna say
Sounds
that-
incredible.
How cool is this? This is the character selection. Like again, it's this like blown out exposure. All the menus are pulsing in time with the music itself. It's
Yeah,
just
it's cool.
nice.
really cool. Really cool.
Cool.
Who's it? Do you know the developer?
Again,
Or interactive.
there you go.
Don't actually. I don't know. I'll tell you what else they've done.
Or AWE.
Or as in like shock and awe.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, right.
They have also made nothing.
Oh, good on him.
Yeah, well, there
This
you go.
seems to be their first game.
Wow.
Yep. Very cool.
Start with the bang.
Great.
Because it's musical, and I'm sorry, I'm hearing
No, yeah.
better than you guys in the room, but because it's musical, it's fun to watch it
Yeah.
played, because
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
just watching music.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like it would be so good in VR. I just think if it was, it'd have to be on rails if it was in VR.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think. I just feel like I want to be doing those actions with my hands. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there
Macy
is
would
there
kill
is
it.
a shooter.
Yeah,
Saber
Audio
VR
or
game.
Dioacity or something, which is
okay.
by Harmonix, who
Yeah.
do one that you have 2 pistols that have like blades on the bottom of them, and you like cut the
I
balls,
think I've seen-
and you move the targets in time with them and stuff like
I
that.
think I've
so
seen
yeah,
a chick doing that, and she dressed up as Trinity, and she was like,
right.
and stuff.
Yeah, which is kind of the same thing. This is much more rhythmy than that one, which I feel
Yeah.
like is more like that sort of on rails puzzle thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Melodic Storm says Audica.
Audica, thank you. Audacica, yeah. Audica. Cool. So yep. Stephanie.
This week I have been playing Divinity Original Sin 2, the definitive edition. The reason I decided to jump back in and play that again is because Larian Studios, who are the developers of this game, are bringing out the new Baldur's Gate very soon, and I'm very excited about it. So I kind of just wanted to re-hype myself for that. But also I hadn't really played I'd only played the classic edition, and the definitive edition just has some like visual upgrades and stuff to make the inventory a bit easier to manage, some new quests and story stuff, and all the DLC, and some kind of cool built-in mods as well, which just make life a little bit easier. But if you've never played Divinity, I cannot recommend it enough. The sequel takes place maybe like centuries after the first Divinity, and it's set in a world where people...
Sorry, Gus went from a thrilling walk to a thrilling book.
I was like, maybe there'll be something exciting later on.
It is a very exciting.
It's set in a world where people who have certain people have access to a magic called the Source, and people who have access to that are called sorcerers.
Oh.
And the gods bestowed a bunch of their power on one particular guy who used it to hold back the void, but he dies before the game starts, so the void unleashes a bunch of like demonic creatures on the world. Everyone blames the sorcerers,
Classic story.
Yep.
rounds them up and ships them off to an island to be cleansed, which is nothing good.
Saucy Island.
So you play one of these source prisoners who are being held prisoner by the Divine Order, and you basically have to set off with your party and escape and figure out what's going on and overthrow the Divine Order. What's really cool about it is that you can create your own character, or you can play one of the set characters, and you can kind of play through a set character's story and just sort of role play as them. And you can recruit up to 3 additional characters who, again, can be any of those preset characters, or you can have multiplayer and have your friends come in and create original characters as well. And it's just such a wonderful game with such a rich story. There's so much story to it. There's so much voice acting for almost all of the dialogue. And it's very like Dungeons and Dragons, well-written humor, like fun, unexpected, just glorious gameplay.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
The first time you played this,
Yes.
you made love to a lizard? My question is, are you going down a similar path? Like because like when you play a new sort of like this style of game.
Yeah.
Normally you kind of take the same kind of archetype character, right? Like you like what you like. You've already played this.
It's very difficult for me to like. It's like if you do like a personality test or whatever, and you don't like the result, and you're like, I'm just going to take it again.
Yeah, totally.
I always get the same result. Because,
Always
like,
Chandler.
Yeah. So I am playing a different like class of character. So I'm. Playing
you are?
Yeah, I'm playing an enchanter this time, which is I usually play like a rogue or a ranger or
Okay, cool.
something
Yeah,
like that.
nice.
But I'm playing an enchanter this time, just because in this kind of isometric game, I think the big impressive looking spells.
All the particle effects.
Yeah.
Totally.
are so fun to use. But I'm trying to. I might try and make different story decisions. I'll see. But I find that very difficult.
I was gonna
will
ask-
have sex with the lizard again.
That was so like said, all caps. I fucked a lizard too.
Yeah, it's really
What
hard.
are we talking about?
It's really
Video
hard.
game.
She's very seductive.
You played this with mates the first time, didn't you? I remember.
Yeah. So it's actually
Yeah.
like, I feel like I've never really had like a cool gaming squad. Like I feel like it's because.
Fucking hurtful to the 3 of us.
Well, no, I feel like.
No, I know what you mean. I
Even
know
like
what
I played with like obviously like people like. When I was like younger, I played a few different games, and then when I joined Good Game, like we'd all play games together every now and again. But I feel like my like disinterest in military shooters kind of shut me out of like most of the game sessions that happen.
The frat boys.
Yeah. So I feel like, I just never really had that. But I was like, fine. Like I liked what I like, and I just played whatever I wanted by myself. But when I started streaming, this game came up and I really wanted to try it, and I was like, oh, I'll just like play it with some randoms, and it was literally just a handful of random people in chat, and we played this game for the first time together, and we had such a good time that we all like added each other on Discord and decided to just kind of keep playing off stream, because it actually doesn't stream that well as a game. It's kind of boring to watch for an audience, but we just wanted to keep playing it ourselves, and we called ourselves the Bucket Crew, because one of the first items that you can equip is a bucket as a helmet on your head, and now they are like this lovely group of friends that I've had ever since, when we like talk every day, and it's just wonderful.
And this was the crew that then you went on to Sea of Thieves. And
yes.
Because I remember this. This was during screenplay, I think.
I feel like
because the other part of the Divinity story was you constantly trying to convince Channel 7 and like me on your behalf as well that this is an engaging, interesting game that should be spoken about, and Channel 7 constantly going, no, it looks boring, and it was let the woman talk about the game.
It's so detailed and wonderful, and there's just like, there are just bizarre, like really beautiful, strange stories to be found within like this really broad world.
You mentioned D&D, and I think like I played a little bit of the first Divinity, and I thought it was so feature rich in terms of the action, in terms of the combat, and how you kind of use your action points to move around, to interact with the world. It felt like, and I'm assuming the sequel does the same, it feels like a perfectly curated game of Dungeons and Dragons without all the bits that you might get confused about. Like, it's all perfectly streamlined in a game, the way Baldur's Gate obviously does as well. And it's like, if the reason you didn't like D&D is because there's just too much kind of like chaos that could happen, I find this is just the perfect version of it. It's like got everything to do with the role playing, but it's all obviously got a story behind it.
And everything leads down to an interesting path. Like, there's no dead end where you go, oh, we kind of messed up that storytelling and that ended in a bit of a fizz. Like the amount of words they put in, I mean, particularly like Divinity made news for the amount of words that were written for the story.
Totally. It's just, there's so much story, but it's also like, if there's one criticism I have, is that it can be sometimes a little bit difficult to follow the sort of quest lines, because it is very much about hunting down your own leads, so that you don't you're not just following a specific line. It's like, well, you need to explore the map and interact with people and talk to everyone, and then you will find all those beautiful moments. And if they guided you too much, then you would miss all of that. So but it's sometimes I find myself being like, I have no idea what to do or where to go next, and I just would like maybe a little bit more guidance.
I think it's a perfect I mean, I only played the first one, I didn't play the second one, but I can Larian are the perfect studio to take on Baldur's Gate. It's such a beloved franchise, and Divinity is better than Baldur's Gate, in my opinion. So, and maybe that's because I don't have a lot of affection for like the D&D lore, but I'm so excited to see their humor. All of the mechanics of this game will just translate one-to-one. They're not going to have to change anything other than the title of the game.
Totally. And what this game has too also is it has the ability for you to use like the sort of basic structure of it in your own D&D campaigns, if you want to use these
sorry, when I was mentioning the D&D and if this feels a better way to do it, I do recall from the first one that it's almost like impossible to break a quest. Like, you could you could climb into a house using barrels, you could blow the wall out, you could speak to people, you could send an animal in, you could, like, it was one of those player choice things where it was like, even when you fail it, that still leads you down a different quest path, which
it's just a legitimate option.
It just felt so D&D in that sense. It's like never, go back, load a save.
And there's just really like there's so much great humor in it, but also just like some of the stories are really sad, and there's like really difficult choices that you have to make, and you don't know how they're going to turn out. And
can you talk to animals yet?
Yes, and in fact, one of the modifiers that comes with the definitive edition is that you can give everyone Pet Pal, which is the ability to speak to animals from the get-go, which I think is really useful. And also, like, there's a whole quest line involving the cat, but like you can lose the cat or the cat can die, and I find that really frustrating. So you can just make the cat, you can just always call the cat back.
And before we move on to your next game, I just want to say Cranketh in chat said you get a different end to that quest if you fuck the lizard as a skeleton.
Like if you're playing as a skeleton?
Yeah.
What
kind of messed up baby does that make? Reroll.
Okay.
Reroll.
What happens,
reroll and re-report.
Because what happens is she's a
seductress?
Prostitute.
And you
Lady of the night.
follow her up to the room, and then she like bonks you over the head, and when you wake up, there's like a bunch of people who've robbed you.
Yep.
You're
Right.
naked.
Yep.
It sounds like a
And
Gus story.
They've put like yes.
So maybe you can't get bonked as a skeleton. Because it's just bone.
Well, because the issue.
Maybe you can't get robbed.
There's certain things with the skeleton that like have a reverse effect, like
Maybe it bonks her.
I don't know. Anyway,
Maybe she bonks and the skull is so hard it ricochets
back?
off and bonks back.
Three Stooges.
Okay,
very
cool. Well, re-roll and re-report.
and and the other game that I've been playing is Unpacking, because you recommended it to me and you said you're going to like this game, and I got a notification on Steam because I added it to my wish list, and it was like the demo is out now, and so I downloaded the demo and I played it, and it's lovely. Yes. Here is what's interesting about it, I think, because what I saw from this game when we were talking about it was that I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of like a self-care kind of game that is just about, unpacking boxes in a way that, like, fulfills a organization OCD thing that we all kind of have and enjoy, and that's kind of about it. But there's more to it than that, which is really kind of wonderful. I think principally, the first thing that I noticed is that in the demo you kind of start with a child's room. Mm-hmm. Like I thought you were just unpacking a whole bunch of random rooms, but I think you're unpacking the same person's
Like
room.
a house.
Well, yeah, as they move through life.
Oh, right.
So I think you unpack the child's room, and then I think this is the child's room, and then I think maybe that you unpack their kind of first apartment when they go to college or university,
okay.
because some of the items are the same, like they've retained some of their childhood things.
Interesting.
And that kind of got me thinking about the fact that, when you play like narrative games, like all the classic ones, like Gone Home or What Remains of Edith Finch, like what's enjoyable about those games is that so much of the storytelling is told through just the items that you're kind of nosily fossicking through, because you learn so much about a person that way. So I kind of found that there's a little bit of that in here, and I'd be interested to know as the game progresses if they kind of have, without actually any real storytelling, if they're trying to sort of tell a story just through these kinds of like belongings.
Well, Hugaholic in the chat says the tagline to the game is unpacking a life. So I think you're spot on.
Yeah, right.
Which,
okay.
That is a lovely, because I have, and spoilers, we will be talking to the developers of this game very shortly. I have things from my childhood that I still have in our house that I will never let go of. Like I have Rascal, who is my pet, not pet, my little toy rabbit that I got on the day I was born from my grandmother. And Rascal has gone from house to house. I took him on my first trip to America because I was nervous. I was 20 and put him in the suitcase, and he now sits in our bedroom and is like a toy that my kids do not play with, but look at and admire and understand that if you respect your toys, kids, then this is how well they keep. But that thing of like you go through life, but you do just hang on to certain memories and things and continue with. I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, I think on a sort of mechanical level, what's cool about it too is it's not just about like putting stuff where you want and that being enjoyable. It's like you have to really kind of Tetris things in a certain place. Like if you wanted to just leave everything on the floor, that's not an option. You have to put things away in like a place where it is appropriate for it to be, and the game will tell you if like something is in the wrong place.
I didn't notice there are different rooms that you're unpacking at once.
Yeah, and so that this becomes kind of problematic as well, because sometimes, like, whatever happens when you move house, sometimes boxes go to the wrong place or things are in the wrong boxes, and so you're unpacking the bedroom and you get random kitchen appliances. So you're like, I don't want to deal with this now, but I'm going to have to take this to the kitchen. And then you only unpack one shoe, so the shoe is going to be in another box somewhere. And there's like things that you think are going to fit in a certain way and they don't, so you really have to kind of get good at organizing. My thing is I tend to put everything on the floor first and then figure out what I want to put everywhere.
In life or in the game?
In the game.
Right, okay.
Because I just I need to see what I'm working with. That's just like my method. But yeah, it's actually like it was a lot more involved, and I found it like joyfully frustrating trying to find where things needed to go.
This is OCD waiting to happen as well, isn't it? Like you can set things like a pixel the wrong side of things as well by looking.
Yeah, but also like
bras
you'll
with
be
your books.
you'll be really happy. Like,
No, I'm just saying.
see, that's the underwear should go in that bottom drawer. This person hasn't got to the underwear yet, so they don't know. But that's where the underwear's going.
Right.
What's that? You wouldn't put that in a
That's a
drawer.
mouse pad.
Pete, do you want a full
It's a
screen?
poster. It's a poster.
Sorry.
It's
That goes on- that goes on a
it's
wall.
a poster that goes on the wall. They just don't. They haven't realised it yet. 'Cause it's
This
rolled up.
idiot.
Well,
But on the-
that's
they've just stashed it. That's fine.
yeah, great.
It's really cool.
It is super, super cool. And it is an Australian developer, and that developer will be joining us on the show in a minute. So,
Yeah, great.
Is that all? Is that all you wanted to sort of add before we?
Yeah. The only thing I would say as well is that you're looking at like a specific time period as well. So we've got like a CRT monitor and that very specific of the period computer chair.
There's that
So-
red brick wall to do stand-up comedy.
So this does feel like someone's life, and I have so many exciting questions that I can't wait to ask. So let's talk to them now.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
we're going to go for an ad break first.
Oh,
We'll go for an ad
okay,
break,
sorry.
and then we'll talk to them. So we'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
They figured it out. The underwear. You see?
Wait, what? Hang on. No.
So it's like a puzzle temple vaulty thing.
Oh, I love puzzle temple vaulty things. Oh,
Do you reckon it's a person trapped in a box?
I'm going to pull the object over here.
Yes, super arm.
That's it. Just oh.
Nailed it.
Oh, so I can do a charge throw to get this one across there.
Wow.
Too far.
Incredible.
It lit up.
Smash it in the eye. Nice.
Yeah, okay. Gently place.
Good work.
Okay, quick shot.
We got it.
I just...
Was that like an anger swing?
Yep.
Apollo's arrow, you'll totally be able to guide it. Watch down for
God.
the hit the. Yes! Got it in one! There it is.
Oh, I see.
You want to shoot that link?
Wires to drop down, wires to put down gently.
We did it. And that's the game.
Cosplay?
Thank you very much to our beloved sponsors, and thank you very much to our beloved guests joining us from Witchbeam. It is Tim and Wren. How are you guys?
Hello. Oh, good. Can you hear us?
We can.
can.
It is
Louder.
spectacular. Your voices, the timbre, the tone, the volume, everything is perfect. Also perfect, apparently, your game. When I saw the trailer for this last week, I think it was mid last week that I found it, and I was like, Steph is going to adore this game. I think a ton of our audience will adore this game because it has that catharticness. And while I'm very happy for you that you have made a game that seems to be ringing true for so many people, I'm just glad that I was right. That's like that's a tick in the win column for Nick.
My question is, what inspired you to create a game like this? It seems like an unusual concept, but it actually works so well.
So it was inspired by a real move. When I moved in with Ren.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell the story.
Yeah, so the place I've been living in, I've been living there for 5 years, and I had a lot of stuff. And this apartment's not very big. So I had to get rid of most of my stuff, and the packing was kind of annoying, and the moving was annoying. But the unpacking was all right because it meant everything in the boxes was stuff I decided to keep, and I didn't label them and put them in any particular order because
You madman.
the whole process was, and Ren was helping, and we were kind of like unpacking together, and things would come out and be like, oh, it's my stuff again, but in a new context, and yeah.
Yeah, and there was something very game-like about it. Like you take things out of one box, and once you finish, you get rid of that box, and you unlock the one underneath. And you and there's just all these things that felt very game-like. Like even just in general, like creating order out of chaos is very game-like. So we just went, hey, like we could make a game about this.
I love the fact that you found the only good part of moving and you turn that into a game, because it's like the rest of moving house is where relationships end. and you found the one part where it's like, oh, this is where relationships potentially come back together.
Also,
and heal.
And how often do you successfully turn a boring chore into something entertaining with the phrase, let's turn it into a game? And it's always like, oh, no. But this turned out perfectly.
It's super nice, and I love that. Like, it does represent so much of a person is the things that they sort of choose to keep around them. As you said, you've kind of like had to purge the things that you didn't need. But when you were designing the objects for this game, were you kind of really focused on how it sort of told the story of someone's life through their belongings, mundane and otherwise?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's all about like telling the story of this character through the moves in her life from childhood into adulthood. So we wanted to have this through line from the very start of it of like, this is this character, this is what she's about, this is what her life is like. And we were like, how can we show this with just items? Because we've always wanted this to just be like an environmental storytelling game. Like where one of my inspirations for this was Gone Home, where everything is about environmental storytelling, but in Gone Home you've got like audio diaries and like notes and things, and we don't have that kind of fidelity because all we have is like tiny pixel sprites. So we have to make these items like really speak, and we do that just with the art and with the sound design as well.
That's so amazing. I mean, I just referenced that game to Nick, saying it reminded me of that, because in Gone Home, you're very much getting so much of this person's life through the fact that she's a teenager and things that she's into and all the zines. And even when you go into the bathroom, there's like hair dye and tampons. And it's like, it's all of it is so much, it's mundane stuff, but it gives you so much a sense of place and time and personality and motivation. And yeah, you get that same sense here. I know so much about this person just from their stuff. And it's just so wonderful, and I'm excited to move to the next, like the rooms after this. Although the kitchen was very frustrating in a good way, as kitchens always are.
Yeah, we still aren't happy with our kitchen layout.
No.
And good on you guys for like using simple objects to tell a story, because if I come across an audio log in one of those boxes, I'm going to stop playing the game. They're like, I moved into this room at this time of my life. They're like, throw it out.
Did you guys have... oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, not a single audio log plan. So.
Maybe in the DLC.
Did you guys have items that you put in the game that are like Easter eggs, whether it's things that are yours in real life or on your dev team or something like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, you can't help it. A lot of little references. A lot of one of the toys in the kids' room is a character from the last game Witchman made. So
yeah, but another one is of a character from the webcomic that you started when you were 17. So like,
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's so cool. And I saw someone in the chat who said, I can't believe this game is made by the same people who made Assault Android Cactus, which, like, fantastic game. People loved that, but yes, tonally, about as far away as you could possibly get.
How did you balance the sort of the joy of organizing with the kind of challenge and frustration element? Because I feel like you've made it just frustrating enough that you feel compelled to get it right, but like not frustrating to the point where it's just like really annoying.
I'd say it's been through a lot of playtesting, both ourselves and like friends and such, and at shows, because so first when we started showing it to people, we realized that our system of like validating where items can go was way too strict and actually made people angry. So we had to tone it way down. We're like, all right, so you can leave that there and you can leave that here. It's like our way of unpacking is not the only correct way of unpacking. People have a lot of different ways to do it. So that was one thing. And then another thing is like, honestly, every time we design these rooms, at first they're too hard, and then we make them a bit easier as we go, so that people who aren't us can solve them without getting frustrated.
One of the interesting things about like the design of the game, and bringing it back to Android Cactus, where you have a lot of levers to pull, where you can kind of add new enemies that shoot bombs at you or something like that. And in a game like Unpacking, the difficulty, you can't fail, you can't lose, but you can add friction. So you have a bunch of items that kind of don't quite match.
There's some friction right there.
Yeah. And the cool thing about that in the context of Unpacking is it forces you to think about, well, okay, how are you going to compromise? You can't make this perfect. You can't just have everything line up exactly. Something's going to go somewhere else. And in that, people kind of learn a bit about themselves, and also it kind of makes it more interesting. You have to stop and think about your values, I suppose.
I like
Definitely.
I like how you're framing that like it's some sort of meditative look at the human condition, but actually it's just a prick move, because you've basically created a jigsaw puzzle and put in one extra piece or removed a piece. And you're just gonna have to deal with this. Like it's never gonna be perfect, so just suffer.
This is not my gameplay footage.
This is not where I would put these things.
Oh, you can't see it right now?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
This is not my gameplay footage, so even me just watching this now, I am frustrated by the choices that this person is making, because like I have a specific idea of where I think things should go, and it's just like I'm interested to see other people play this game and watch them make choices that I will also hate.
That's a fantastic thing with showing this game around. I think the first time that we saw this was when we were showing the game at Day of the Devs back in late 2018. So it was just a kitchen, and people could see it. It was like on this big screen that was kind of high up. So when one person played it, I think they played it standing up. Everyone behind them in the line, there was like this big queue. Everyone could see what they were doing, and people would pass by or like stand in the line and look at what was going on the screen. They're like, where are they putting those towels? You know? And it was so much fun, and it kept drawing more people in to play the game. They're like, I'm gonna do this better.
Oh, wow, that's the one thing you need when moving house or unpacking is heckling, because that'll definitely make everything run smoother.
But honestly, it's like I haven't actually played the demo, and there's a bunch of people in our chat now going like, well, now I have to download the demo and play this.
Yeah.
But it's like every single thing that comes out of the box you immediately care about, and I don't know where to attribute that accomplishment to, whether it's like the art, because everything looks great and you want it to be in the right spot, or
And super detailed and individual.
or the fact that you have like almost pixel perfect.
That isometric grid is really satisfying to move everything around on. It's
You
like,
just care. You care about every little bit.
What are you doing, you psychopath? What the fuck?
Sorry, this person
Get it
clearly
off the toilet.
a mouse pad on the toilet.
But I think it's
broke the
also
game.
it's also that idea of going into a new home is a clean slate, right? And it's your opportunity to be a better person and live a better life
my God.
and be all organized. I feel like that's the mentality I go in with. So like I feel that for this person, and I want them to have like the best start at university or wherever they're going. So I'm like, and you can only achieve that if I put all of your underwear in this drawer and the pajamas in this drawer, and anyone who does it differently, their life will be ruined.
Yeah, you created the video game equivalent of at the beginning of a school year. If I just buy the right notepad and pencils, then I will study and I will do my homework. It's all about the stationery, and then 2 days in, it's all fallen apart.
It is absolutely like that, because we put you in the situation where you only see the person as they're moving in. And so they're like, I'm going to get my life in order, like every single time. And you can decide what that looks like. And it's just like, this special like liminal space that you're in. I love it.
And do you have any backstories for the stuff that's happened in between moves? Like, is this person now coming off like a just a messy breakup and is like stolen some of this stuff from their ex and like just shoved it in boxes and it's like, I'm leaving and I'm never coming back?
There's a his cup, but the his cup is smashed on the floor.
Like, have you got the linking story, I suppose?
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
Like there even is, well, there even may be a breakup in there. So.
So exciting! Oh God, I love heartbreak.
When the demo ended, I was devastated, so I can't wait to play this. When is it released?
Yes.
Sorry, we didn't brief you on this.
Oh, sorry.
Did we?
Sorry. You can say sometime in the future. It's fine.
Next year, we're not entirely sure when yet. We're still
great.
working towards but yeah, it's all coming together.
Yeah.
Very exciting. 2 bits of feedback. First of all, boxes do not pack down that quickly and easily. The boxes are the worst part of moving. Just watching them magically disappear and not be left in your garage and asking people if they need boxes, like that's where
And there could be something very satisfying in having a box cutter and just getting to cut the box before you squish it down.
No, it is very satisfying that the box
just disappears.
the way it does.
Yep.
Honestly,
Holds itself up.
because all you want is to get into the next box as fast as possible.
Yep.
So the fact that like it just folds up.
I want to find that
is like the best thing. Look at it.
The
Gone.
the Easter egg room that's just full of boxes that haven't been cut up yet. That's possibly in there. Second bit of feedback: possible prequel packing. Have you thought about
No.
Because I love the idea. No, because I love the idea that you were saying they're all in like the wrong order, and you were like, "Who do you blame for that?" It's like, well, it's the person. You could have the people who put the objects in the boxes in the wrong order messes up unpacking for the next people playing.
Terrible bits of feedback.
All right, no, fair
Ignore
enough.
them both.
I'll point out to our chat that Tim and Wren did not sign up for user feedback.
Isn't that what this is?
It must be fantastic as a dev to have an interview and then it ends with, all right, here's my feedback.
No, it's delightful, guys. Yeah, you've done a really fantastic job, and as I said, it looks beautiful. And I wish my life clicked together on an isometric grid.
And if you could cut the boxes and see who packed them, then your game would be perfect. You can download the demo on Steam. Can we pre-order the game anywhere, or are we just like adding it to wish lists?
Just wishlist at the moment. Yeah, we've got.
No, you go.
Yeah, we've got a wishlist on Steam and Humble Store at the moment. And and we post a lot on our Twitter account if you kind of want to see the kind of dev side of things as well.
Yeah, and we have a wish list on our website, which is unpackinggame.com.
Mailing list.
Mailing list, not wish list. Words.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, we'll certainly remind people when it comes out as well. So congratulations on this one. Yeah, I'm really happy that it's as fun as it looks. And I've got the demo at home, so I'm going to dive into it this weekend.
Wicked.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Cheers,
much.
guys.
Cheers. All right.
How fucking nice are they?
How delightful as well.
Come
Just
on.
lovely.
To go like, let's make a lovely game about like the cathartic action of just starting a new life versus.
I'll tell you one thing. There's no way Cliff Bleszinski would have made this game.
I mean,
I don't know why that's so funny, but it really is.
It's like, yeah.
I had more feedback, but maybe I should direct it at Cliff. I think for that. That's the game Cliff and I want to
If
make.
it was Cliff's game, every box would be the size of the couch, and it would just be one shoulder pad or one like pauldron. I think they're called pauldron, right? All right. Well, we'll let you know when more unpacking news drops. But like they said, 2021. Add it to your wish lists and download the demo because it's a special game from the sounds of it. All right. Now we're going the exact opposite. We went. I mean, I never asked. I assume they're a couple. And if they're not, I'm sure this is very awkward for them. We're going from like a game developed by like two people who are either a couple or are
just sharing a space together.
sharing a space together and have unpacked, and probably there's some sort of sexual friction that we haven't spoken about. And whoever else is on their team. Two, PlayStation. Hundreds of thousands of people, probably all in their own happy relationships, some maybe potentially with each other and some not. Who knows how companies work? I mean, we have a company where two people are in a relationship.
Is this a segue? I'm very confused.
I was like, where is this
I'm
going?
sure.
Are we talking about
This is the full course way.
the PlayStation?
This is why.
Press conference thing that happened.
And he gets the single? Come on.
This is why I pay me the big bucks. The PlayStation 5 showcase happened early this morning.
Yeah.
Oh God,
It's
it seems
6
like
a.m.
a
this morning.
long-ass day. So obviously Xbox came out last week, dumped the info on their console. We knew that PlayStation wouldn't be far behind, and they are not. They announced price, they announced release date, and they announced a couple of games, but gave more info on the rest of them. So I thought we would just run through what happened.
Would we call it PlayStation News?
Would we call it PlayStation News? I think we would call it PlayStation News.
Well, if it was.
Yeah, all I know is that we couldn't possibly talk about news like this.
News of any sorts.
Slowpunk.
No!
It's Tim, of course it's Tim from the Learn Programming Academy, and if you thought it was Slowpunk, then you're probably not smart enough to become a programmer. But that's my opinion. Tim's opinion is anyone can become a programmer, and all you need to do is go to the Learn Programming Academy. The course is there, $20 or less for most of them. He's taught over 1 million idiots. Can you believe that?
That's
Does he teach
incredible.
segways?
Man.
If he could code me a segue, because I feel like my segues, Tim, we'll get back to it in a second. I have a disease, and in my brain, when I need to go between one topic or another, for whatever reason, my brain is like, you have to segue this. You can't just clean break it, you must segue. And 70% of the time, nah. But 30% of the time, Tim and Wren might be in a relationship.
The idea of segueing just never enters my mind.
Really? You're just
Ever.
Your new chapter.
break.
I have no interest in a segue.
I would point out
Hard break, new topic, let's go.
Gus put a lot of hard work into designing some pretty cards, which mean we don't have to segue.
That's true.
But
No,
to get
that's
to those
nice to
cards,
segue.
like a blackjack player in a card game of poker.
And if you don't have your own Gus, and instead you need someone to program those cards for you, then you should head to the Learn Programming Academy, where you can learn to do it yourself, or you can pay the money for someone else to learn and give the gift, the greatest gift of all, an education.
Oh, he's back.
For you. And so Tim wants to help you become as much of a gun programmer as he is. So give an exclamation mark Tim in the chat. Go check out the website at Learn Programming Academy, lpa.dev, and show Tim that the Pocketeers are not idiots, like I just said you were earlier, but are instead robust minds ready to be filled with Tim's knowledge.
All right, take it down.
The Segway brain fell over. It fell over.
Well, yeah, obviously there were console details in terms of date and price, but as you mentioned, games. Do we want to go through, just talk about the console?
I figured let's just do the console, the game, and the release date and the price, because it's like, yeah, it's just out there, it's just facts. So November 12th is when we're getting it. We are getting it at the same time as Europe and America. The 19th is when the sort
We're
of like,
important too.
yeah, like trash tier countries get it, and by trash tier I just mean that you obviously just were not important enough for Sony to give you the console on the same day as everybody else, which is sad. New Zealand, you're probably one of those countries. Why am I doing this? Why am I like this?
New Zealand get it, and like I think all of Europe doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Europe got it.
No,
Europe's
Europe's
trash
a
tier?
week later. Yeah,
Europe is trash.
yeah.
I feel like Australia and New Zealand are kind of one thing in the rest of the world's eyes.
Yeah,
And-
totally. Yeah. And
Like if the boat went that far.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. So it's November 12th. It is $5.99.95 for the digital-only version.
99, I think.
99?
I know that's only a 4-cent disparity, but I just thought it was an interesting figure.
Okay, cool.
Well,
and
it's
then,
keeping it in the fives and not taking it up to the 600.
No, I know, but
but they're screwing you with that 4 cents.
A
if that
common,
is the
a
case.
common sales technique.
pay with card, not with cash, and you'll save yourself a cent.
It is.
Peter's
No,
my
it's
tip.
it's 95.
Is it?
Yeah, but I like your thing that they just want that 4 cents.
Maybe the American prices were in 99.
It is, yeah. But it's $749.95 for the disk drive version.
Yep.
So in comparison to the Xbox Series X, $749 for the X and $499 for the S. So it's falling basically in between those two things, but it's relatively power-wise the same as the X. So you're getting the most powerful console for cheaper if it's the digital-only version. So it's all very confusing because everyone's offering something slightly different.
Yeah.
But I think broadly speaking, if you want the most powerful console, you don't care about having a disc, and you want it the cheapest, PlayStation won that battle.
5.
Thank you. Good.
You
All right.
refuse to help.
What I thought was going to be the simplest part of this
No,
entire
that was
discussion
hard.
turned out to be
Say that
incredibly
all
complex.
one more time.
So let's move on to the games. So they. People aren't actually here for the news. They're just here for the circle jerk discussion about what we think about the game.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
They're not
That is
here
true.
for actual numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they announced a bunch of games and showed a bunch of trailers, starting off with Final Fantasy 16, which they just dropped. Like, there was no announcement about this. There was no tease. It was just like, boom, here you go. Here's a trailer
Face full of
the new
chocobo.
Final Fantasy.
Surprise chocobos.
How are we feeling about this? None of us here are really Final Fantasy.
Not
nerds.
particularly, no. I think the only thing to note is that obviously he's going hardcore back on the, fantasy mystical side of it versus what the last one was, the 6 guys in a car, in a boy
Which I
band.
kind of liked, oddly
Look
enough.
cool.
Oh,
I love that kind of obscureness.
Absolutely.
And you've got some
It
boy
had a
band hit
weird
there.
kind of personality to it.
Yeah, but considering Final Fantasy was a fantasy series in the beginning, it's nice to see them go back to castles and, that
Knights
realm.
and-
Yeah, and then they'll inject it with a whole bunch of weird as well.
But
Which,
it's always kind of been broad spectrum steampunk sometimes, and it goes all over the place.
yeah,
Final
but
Fantasy.
swords, castles, chocobos, I'm kind of like, this might be the one I would play because I just feel like I'm getting some of that core Final Fantasy.
This,
sort of-
can we go back and can we get sound on this? Is that
Yeah, that's good.
Can we just go back to where we meet the boy,
small boy.
small boy, and if we just get some sound? I was very confused by his voice. If it's him talking,
Our foe will not relinquish their mother crystal easily.
yeah,
That was a dog.
This will be a bitter fight.
No, that's just a VO running while
Yeah,
he
yeah.
does some fish bowling.
Are you sure it happens again?
Come, Joshua. Your father will be expecting us.
I am Joshua's shield.
No,
Yeah, I'm Joshua's shield.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, it's not him talking. Because, no, good. Noodle Game says, I'm just so glad I wasn't the only one. I was like, okay,
That's
we
a-
need to have a conversation about voiceover artists
Sure, but then,
appropriate for the character model.
But how weird would it be for them to be like, you're actually playing a 100-year-old king who's in the body of a small boy?
Well,
who has-
spoilers, you're playing a dragon who's in the body of a small boy.
Aye?
Well, that's what the
Phoenix.
trailer, that's what the trailer seems to have.
Ah, right.
The-
Should probably paid more attention.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
dragon is the kid because they fight the dragon and they're like, calm down, Alexander.
All right.
I think I'm right. Am I right?
It's an
confused us again.
It's an interesting theory.
Is Alexander a dragon?
I thought it was the Phoenix. I thought the Phoenix resided in the little boy, and then there was another big bad thing for some reason. I don't understand.
I mean, it's Final Fantasy. It's always going to take a long time to digest and get every element of the complex story mixed with the 10 characters that are all going
I
to
don't
have.
know. It's a particularly complex story. It's just
Convoluted.
Yes.
Yeah, that's better way to put it.
Chat will let us know whether the kid is a dragon. See, Covered in Blood.
Pretty
Kid
sure
is
it's
a
a
dragon or a
phoenix.
phoenix. He's someone.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's the phoenix.
yeah,
Right,
like
okay.
we see at the
Okay,
end of the trailer, the kid kind of it burns.
Oh,
yeah.
oh, yep. Okay.
There's a little fireball thing.
Okay.
This interests me for the first time in a long time in a Final Fantasy game.
Oh,
So-
sorry. I just thought this was a dragon. Okay, cool.
There is
We
a
just
beast that it
There is?
fights in
Okay,
the sky
right.
though.
So yeah, okay. You want to play it? That's what we're drilling down.
It's the first Final Fantasy in a long time. I'd give some time to.
I feel like I've never particularly enjoyed the combat systems in Final Fantasy though, so it depends what that is.
They have been making it far more instant and a lot more feedback in the terms of it's not
Okay.
turn-based in the sense that you're juggling a lot of things that are happening while you're still doing that immediate hit and dodge attack.
This
Yeah,
isn't turn-based.
No, I'm saying the previous games have had that. They've
Yeah,
been
right. Because I wouldn't be surprised if this is.
Well, look at some of that combat there, though. You see, and it is definitely going back.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's an action game still.
Yeah, it doesn't. But I don't see any kind of HUD stuff here, so it's hard to say.
Oh, there'll be HUD. There'll
Yeah.
be so much HUD.
Yeah, but I'm with you, Steph. The combat, it's never been the draw. For the last one, the draw was taking pictures
just-
with my band in the desert.
Yeah, oh,
If I
totally.
don't have that, then there's not a
Totally.
lot
And the
here for me.
food. The food was
The food, the cooking was so much fun. Oh my god.
Was amazing.
Yeah, it was
and the cooking and the photos.
I think it's because there was storytelling that you
Photos.
could imbue into the story yourself. Like
Yeah.
you could come up with your own relationships of how these characters deal with. Anyway, so Final Fantasy 16 coming to PS5 and PC.
Yeah.
And PC
Cool.
that they're adding to the end of this is a couple of games in here that they're sort of announcing that it's coming to both platforms. So PlayStation continuing the sort of we'll put some of our stuff on the PC. The next game,
yeah, but I mean, they don't own this. This is Squeenix.
yeah, but
It's not like a first-party title.
Squeenix.
No, but I thought that only started happening in the last couple that they were putting them on PC as well. I thought before they were.
Yeah, I mean, they used to just be tied to the platform, but not in
I know
an
that-
exclusive way.
Yes,
I think
yeah,
just
yeah,
in an allegiance way.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, PC, console, they're swinging both ways. Speaking of swinging.
Well done. God, he's really angling
here we
for that
go.
single, isn't he? Spider-Man, Miles Morales, coming 2020. The little demo we saw here, it started off a bit weird, I thought, of this thing where I'm like, okay, we're going to see sort of like a 10-minute extended demo thing. And then
a developer rocks up.
Yeah, he kind of wanders around the neighborhood a little bit. And then at the moment where the least interesting thing happens, which is a camera just kind of tilts halfway up a building, it fades out and the developer turns up. I'm like, we didn't see anything.
Yeah.
I might skip to
I
something
feel like they're just being cagey. They don't want to show you like anything yet because they haven't perfected it, and so they're just like, here is the world that you can get excited about, and now this guy with the long hair is going to tell you about it.
Yeah,
But then we move into
Miles, and then we move into a bit of trailer stuff where we see the Tinkerer, and then we get into the
This
bridge combat.
combat looks so cool.
Yeah.
This whole thing with the purple, whatever that is, that kind of shoots like an extended thing at you. It looks sick.
The fact that Miles' suit has this kind of like radiating electric energy that you can run through your attacks as well, and obviously sets off a bit of a cataclysmic event. But obviously they're finding ways to make this differentiate from the other suit, the previous Spider-Man game.
Yep.
And yeah, you're right. Linking all these combos together with like an extra oomph of power looks really fun. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this started as possible, not DLC, but like a small bite-sized game.
It still is a small bite.
And they're still going with that. But I mean, there's a lot here. So I wonder how many hours is that actually? Is that going to be an 8 to 12 hours, which is a sizable game still. It's not a,
Yeah, it's enough.
sick.
Like I kind of got a bit
Fatigued.
of the other one just swinging around the city after a bit.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think all the cinematic stuff was really cool, and the combat was obviously very fluid. I think the combat does look cooler here, and yeah, it looks even more cinematic, the combat here.
Yeah.
It feels like every time you combo something, there's a cool camera angle and like a...
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's a very spammy kind of combat thing. It looks like there's kind of quick time kind of rolled into it. There's different things that you can do while you're in the air. There's like, it looks like it's a really involved combat system.
I felt sorry for Marvel Avengers, as I have been wont to do for the past month. That this is the second game in a month that we've seen a Marvel Avenger have a fight on a bridge, and this fight is way better than the other fight that we saw.
Yeah.
Like everything about this is doing the thing that I feel like Marvel Avengers wanted to do. But yeah, I love the kineticness of it. I love the scope that it seems to be going for.
That's beautiful, that shot.
Yeah, so the one thing that I don't like about this is that they announced that it's also coming to PS4.
Yep.
And so this, Sackboy's Big Adventure and Horizon Zero Dawn are all coming to PS4 and PS5. And while I think this looks amazing, and there are games on PS4 that look amazing, it's like, I feel like it can't unleash its full potential of what like a next-gen game can be when it also needs to run on this older stuff. And I sort of think back to when like Mark Cerny, when they announced the PS4 Pro, and he was like, Sony still believe in generations. You only get that jump when it's like you go to a new generation, and it's like, so we have these SSDs and they're supposed to do all these sorts of things, and for these kinds of games, less so with this, because I'm like, this is a shorter thing that they sort of probably made in conjunction with the first one. But the fact that Horizon, not Zero Dawn, but the
sequel,
the sequel, will be backwards compatible like that, Forbidden West. It means that it won't be taking advantage of the things that the hardware can do in the same way that Ratchet and Clank is like, you don't get that game on a current gen. So
I hear what you're saying, but I feel like there is, I feel like in this day and age, there has to be a transition period. For not everyone can put all their money into new consoles straight away and still want to have access to these games. They still want to be able to sell those games to people. So I feel like what happens now is that there is kind of a blurry crossover period where they're like,
What is going on?
Come here, darling. It's okay.
Scotty. Oh, you know what it is?
Oh, it's the fridge. It's ice.
Freezer.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. There's no one else in the studio, so hearing a loud noise on the other side of the studio is kind of haunting. But we're defrosting a broken fridge, and I think that was it.
Yeah, I think there has to be a crossover period because otherwise, and the stuff that you're talking about will come later. But for now, they're just like, we need to keep making these games, and we need people to keep buying them, and we don't want people who haven't bought the console to not be able to have access to this game. So this is was kind of like a little
Bridging.
spider web joining of the bridges.
Very nice. I mean, I'm fine.
It's only a segue, but it's like I'm
going
linking
with
the
it.
two thoughts.
I'm fine with it for this because this is coming out with the launch of the console. This is like that bleed over thing. But it just seems weird to me that a game like Horizon, where like that's 2021, it is a huge game. It is like this. It can be a system seller. That it's not going to have that. Yeah, I mean, it's a small quibble, and I don't know anything about the game, but I was just like, oh, that's interesting that that far away we're still doing that.
Because I feel the same. I thought Cyberpunk was going to be the game that would be developed for the next gen console. But then it's also hard because it's like, it takes so long to make a game like that. And if the console is not like, they can't give you that hardware to develop on 5 years ago, whenever they started making it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like...
And they build with scalability in mind, though. Like, they're building for PC, really.
And that just basically means you can really just up the grunt of what the machine that's running it is.
But it does mean, and Nick's right, that it's less tailored to the hardware and maybe isn't getting the most out of the new console that you just spent $750 on.
Totally, which is, I agree with what Nick's saying. It's like that idea that,
it's scope of idea. It's not like, oh, it just looks better. I don't care that. Like, I like the fact that you can have a game that can run on two, and maybe it looks a little less amazing on one thing. But that thing of like seeing the Ratchet and Clank where you're ripping between the dimensions, and you're like, oh, you have built the new hardware into your game, and that doesn't exist. But anyway, it's a small quibble from something that looks.
As you said, like after you get that new piece of hardware, there is playing something like a Ratchet and Clank. There is a little bit of magic knowing that this is only possible on this thing that you have that you're playing right now.
Totally.
Speaking of magic,
oh, he's done it again.
Hogwarts Legacy.
I mean,
Baby.
I am schwitzing. I just need to. Let's just do this. Hogwarts
warm.
Legacy
It's warm today.
announced 2021.
And who better
Many
to
platforms.
talk about this game than Daniel Radcliffe himself?
Harry Potter himself.
My favorite quote, because I did a lot of reading on this today, my favorite quote was someone on Reddit who this trailer came up, and then the top comment on Reddit was, "You're a microtransaction addict." Open world single player game set in the 1800s. Embark on a journey through familiar and new locations as you explore and discover fantastic beasts, customize your character, craft potions, master spellcasting, upgrade talents, and become the wizard you want to be. I am so stoked by this game.
I'm not a massive Harry Potter fan. I love the films, but nothing else of the extended universe really tickles my fancy. So, and I don't think it's going to translate as well to a game as it should, because it just feels so perfect for a game that, I think it'll falter, cancel before release. Steph? Falter.
I am also not a Harry Potter fan. I mean, I enjoyed it enough, but I wasn't like a rabid Harry Potter person, because I was like...
Sorry, what were those? Hang on. I think I'm on board all of a sudden. Sorry, Steph, I interrupted rudely. I'll pause when it comes to the moment I was reacting to. These things? Oh, my word.
They look like a hybrid between a slow loris and a llama.
Yeah.
That's what Gus was thinking.
That is on some party drugs.
Because at the time Harry Potter came out, I was like heaps nerdy into like high fantasy. So I was like, these books are for kids, and I'm reading Raymond D. Feist. But then I was really like sad that I never got into it, because it became such a part of people's childhoods. So I feel like I'm more inclined to get into this because it doesn't follow the Harry Potter narrative of Harry Potter himself. Whereas this is more just like a wizard world that I can, get involved in and kind of divorce myself from that central narrative and enjoy the fantasy, because I just love fantasy, and so I'll play this for sure.
Do we know entirely what kind of game it is? I didn't do much research on this one. So is it a single player story?
So it's single player. It's an open world. So the wording in the trailer and the wording in the press release and stuff implies, what I'm thinking is we've got a bit of a Mass Effect or Dragon Age situation going on, where you are given the choice to go good or bad. Mm-hmm. Because it's all about defining your legacy in the game, and so it seems to be like there will be an enemy or something, and how you approach this situation. You can go down a dark path or a light path. It's lots of exploring the castle and the areas around, like Azkaban and the village, and I'm hoping that we get to go to like London, some other places.
Diagon Alley.
Yeah, all the classics.
I feel like addressing the J.K. Rowling thing, it's such a complicated issue, and I understand people wanting to take a stance on this game based on her like transphobic horribleness. I feel like the other thing to consider though is that like a massive studio of people have been working very hard on this game, and I think also the world that she created means a lot to a lot of people. She's already very rich. Whether or not you buy this game, I think it's not going to matter to her either way. I feel like it's one of those things where it's like,
Yeah, it's tough.
it's a tough choice to make, but I feel like in this instance, like for me anyway, I feel like I'm kind of separating the two things.
Yeah, I find it easier to, and I'm not a massive Harry Potter fan either, but everything in this trailer looks fucking sick, except for the bridge. That bridge that looks like it's from like a MMO.
Yeah, the one that like appears at the end and
from 1995 or something.
Yeah,
it's like one shot of a bridge that like
it's
builds
towards
out
the end of the trailer.
What is that shot? Because everything else is so sick and looks really next gen. Obviously, this looks like cinematic stuff, but look at the
that looks awesome.
this awesome. Back to J.K. Rowling. I find it easier to separate her from her. Yeah, this bit. Separate her from the source material than frickin' Bill Cosby, because J.K. Rowling's just a fucking idiot and a dickhead, whereas Bill Cosby's a pedophile. Like an actual criminal. Sexual predator.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sexual predator. So, yeah, it's like, that's where I stand on it. I'm like, I can support a developer team making a product that's exciting.
I mean, she like for sure like has sold the IP to the point where people can make stuff and whatever, and she's just not involved with it. I don't think she would be particularly involved with this in any way.
I highly doubt it. Yeah, I think the idea that she's created a universe that's expanded well beyond the words on the pages she wrote, I think.
Yeah.
And that's also in the hearts of the fans who really have an affinity for it as well. So, yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying.
Nick, the only fan in the room?
Look, it's incredibly complex. I am not trans, so I feel like it's hard for me to wade in with that, like in a way where I'm like, well, no, it's not hard for me to wade in. It's me. I'll wade into anything. It's hard. Like I don't feel like I have the definitive answer to this. I do think that we need to commit. It's hard in this scenario. I would commit like death of the author concept to Harry Potter, where I would go that it is a text that elevates above beyond just J.K. Rowling. I think that what Harry Potter has done for kids, for like marginalized communities, for people who have embraced this concept, this world, these characters in a way beyond anything that she could have ever imagined, and have made it their own, I think is really special. And that I know, like, I loved Harry Potter growing up. Harry Potter was incredibly special and very important to me as a kid finding my way through the world growing up. I related massively to Harry in ways that, like, you don't need to know about, but like absolutely did. And it's beyond just the glasses. And, but then it's very difficult to then think that she has these horrific beliefs and opinions that she shares very publicly and with a massive fan base. So death of the author, I want that. It's hard because she's still alive, and so she's profiting. Well, like, I know. But she is still making money
as well,
from
the
that.
Lindsay Ellis video, which I know you like Lindsay Ellis. She's got a video.
She has a fantastic video about this. But my point, beyond all that, is that I still do think that she is as abhorrent as what she says is. The thing that I am buying is not sending that message. I mean, I certainly think that this game won't. And so therefore she's not profiting off that message. She's profiting off something she created. She also happens to have these beliefs that I feel like are separate from the text that she has in there. And I know that we can, like, this is such a big conversation. We could go into the whole, like, Harry Potter to add queer characters after it was published. Like, there's a lot. My point is that I am going to buy this game. I'm sorry that I'm going to buy this game, but like I think that the specialness of Harry Potter should not be removed just because the person who made it is a fucking asshole. And I will read Harry Potter to my kids because I think the lessons within that book will make them better people and will make them people that are not like J.K. Rowling as opposed to people who are.
Yeah. Not Unprepared says, I'm trans and a massive Harry Potter fan, and I'm so conflicted by this. I got a lot of comfort from it back in the day, and now the author hates me and my people. It's just sucky. Totally so hard. And I totally get anyone's, like, point of view
Totally.
to take a stand against it, because I get it. She'd be making off money off anything that is using her IP. I guess my point is that like I don't feel like. I don't know. I feel like this would be like a drop in the water for her massive wealth, and I also feel for the dev team that would have worked so hard on this game for so many years
that it makes a much bigger
prior to when she kind of revealed her true self to everyone as well.
Yeah, I think
imagine them right now just launching this game being like, please still appreciate our work. We didn't know.
Well, that, and also shut the fuck up. Shut up.
Yes,
It's interesting seeing like everyone who's been attached to Harry Potter distancing themselves from it in a hard way, except for Hagrid.
Yeah, right.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I just saw a headline the other day. I didn't read into it.
Yeah,
It's
right.
probably a Daily Mail article and bullshit.
And she won't.
Hagrid cancelled.
No, that's fine. And you go? No. Okay. Matty G in the chat says, hope the devs take the opportunity to add in loads of trans, queer, and ethnically diverse characters into this game. And I think that would be a fantastic
That would
thing,
be amazing.
for sure.
That would be amazing.
Just before we move on from this, a couple of things I want to point out that I just hope. I'm hoping that there's an element of this game that's like Persona, where it's like a school sim, where you work through like classes and that sort of thing.
Gosh, that would make so much sense for this world.
Yeah, totally. Apparently, you're a transfer student that moves there halfway through, like into like fourth year, so you're not a child learning everything from scratch. Dumbledore was born in 1881, so Dumbledore will probably be at this school as a kid. So there's definitely going to be a Dumbledore kid character. And then I'm really interested in how the magic system works, because the big flaw for me in Harry Potter, beyond the fuckwit author, is that the magic system is not really a magic system. It's a collection of words that are chosen to say just repeatedly and chunked into the bad spells and everything else. There's no there's no elementalness to how the magic works. So I think you need that in a game like this, of like combine spells, build spells, learn spells, evolve spells. So it'll be interesting to see if they add a magic system, what kind of depth it has.
Yeah.
Lucria says other devs apparently did speak about this, so I'd be interested to find that wherever it is to see what they had to say about it directly. Snail says, I want to buy and play this for nostalgia. I'm non-binary, trans, and your words tonight have helped a lot. Nicrotech says she doesn't deserve our money, but the poor devs don't deserve to be shafted either. So yeah,
it's a sticky situation, and we all just wish that people like her didn't exist.
Speaking of sticky situations, some would say the Cold War itself was somewhat of a sticky situation. And that segues us beautifully to our next game. Beautiful?
Would we say beautifully?
Look, I'm going to say beautifully, and I just did.
Segues.
Well, we'll blast through this one, actually, I think, because this is basically a gameplay trailer that was released for Call of Duty.
People are saying boo in the chat.
Someone said boom.
I was saying boom.
The hashtag has been abandoned. No one wants it.
J-Mo says, Gus, you're great, but that segue sucked.
I was thinking the whole way through, I'm like, tread carefully here, don't be... But, moving on. I'll do a Steph. And here's something now for something completely different. We got a bit of gameplay for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which looks great. And I'll be honest, I'm more interested in the multiplayer and the Warzone aspect of it. Single player has never been a huge part of the COD games.
There's some nice fans.
I'm the exact opposite.
Yeah.
This looks like COD. I'm sure it's going to feel great and play great. The thing that was really cool in this, and I know they've been building towards this kind of stuff. Yeah. And even just skip ahead a little bit, because like this is just a sniper little shootout. There's an action sequence here where you get in a vehicle and you're chasing a plane down because it's Call of Duty. And obviously because you're on the back of this truck, they can put you on rails for this section where it can flip cars in front of you. That one just exploded for no reason.
Well, you shot a man who was standing back, so it had to explode.
A pacemaker that was set to explode. But there's things that happen in here where your car flips, and there's a moment of like you getting control back to take a couple of pot shots with your pistol before it rips it away again. Yeah. And I feel like that's really cool we've seen, like, obviously COD do great action sequences, particularly in the last few years, but I feel like that's just so in a movie
It looks great. Yeah. Look, it's complete over-the-top COD kind of action. And you're right, there are surprising things we've seen in things like The Last of Us, where it's like, you think, how is this a playable action scene? So I think, if they maybe take a few lessons out of that and go, little moments of control can make you feel like, am I in a cutscene or am I actually playing this right now? And that's as you said, that's really...
Like here, obviously, you put your gun down, and I think it's just here where I was like, oh, cool. Like, you get rammed, and then it's like, oh, that was a dude shooting out of the car.
Oh, okay, right.
This sucks. This game sucks now.
The true Alec in the chat said, oh boy, a new COD game. I wonder if it'll be exactly the same as the last 10 COD games. So my one thing I will say to that, because you're in some ways you are correct, and it's not like I feel like Call of Duty has ever told a story where I'm like, profound. But I do think that Call of Duty, the single player, when they get it right, they do a fantastic job of creating just bombastic action.
Yeah.
And they up themselves constantly. I despise the military-industrial complex. I hate violence. I hate the people in all of these games. But there is something that I just go, it is impressive that they continue to... Because you look at how many just, shit shooters come out. And in fact, they've kind of stopped coming out. Single-player shooters are few and far between these days, where it's this sort of military
very hard
shooter.
to compete.
Yeah, and that they've stuck around because they kind of just ate the rest of the market and went, no, we just continue to make it better. So I think the true Alec, you're not giving it the justice it deserves, but also it's Call of Duty. It doesn't need your approval. Who gives it? You can say whatever you want to it.
The sales for Call of Duty, I feel like when we're in the very focused zeitgeist of video games, we're kind of across everything that's happening and coming out and all that kind of stuff. But when you see the sales for Call of Duty every year, it is mind-blowing. And you realize that there are people who don't play any video games but will buy Call of Duty. And so it's there's this whole other subset. It's like there are people who are not gamers but play FIFA and Call of Duty. and it just outsells everything else. So I feel like it's just one of those games that will persist for all time, and they're just their greatest feat is trying to reiterate the same thing in as many different ways as
I also
possible.
think it's one of the many things, but a reasonable portion of the many things that made the PlayStation win this last generation. The exclusivity deal that they have with COD. And it's only a couple of week window, but it's everyone in the world is playing this game, and they're going to play it on a PlayStation. And they win the Western market like that.
Yeah, and if you don't get it on day one, you're already behind in the multiplayer.
Yeah, true.
Cool.
And as you said, they're trying to ratchet up the action, which I think the previous game, the kind of reinvention of Modern Warfare, went back on the realism train, and I think from what we just saw in this trailer here, it's they're letting the Black Ops series as a slight reboot.
That's a bit.
Totally just be let's go back to bombastic COD, let's have fun with it, let's, have you chase a plane down the runway and stuff, which I'm kind of looking forward to in more than I thought I was, because as much as I liked the reboot of Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare, I found it was almost a bit too grim for me. I was I would like to do something silly.
Yeah, a little more. Yeah, totally. Yeah, once it was just shootouts in the street with civilians, it's all right, let's just blow up a plane.
That kill house where there's just 5 enemies and you're going through, I found that a bit scary.
And sorry, I just want to clarify for Skirovic and anyone else I confused. COD is not a PlayStation exclusive, but they have a partnership with PlayStation, which gives PlayStation players access to the content earlier, often even the full game a couple of days earlier.
Yeah, and they get betas.
There's a multiplayer alpha, I think, that you get super...
Yeah, next weekend, I think. Yeah, right. So, exactly. So it's stuff like that.
Totally.
Resident Evil Village was up next, coming 2021. The game that had a really horrific trailer the first go round.
Messy,
really bad trailer. This one I thought was better. But I will never play this game unless someone forces me to for a playback.
We will. I will play it with you then, because that's, again, I want to experience this game, but that's the only excuse I would use to actually be put down in front of it.
I like this as an extension of what 7 did. I liked 7, where the house in the swamp felt like it was going to be the only location, but it kind of became the central point in this swampy, marshy kind of sprawl.
Yep.
And I feel like they've gone you know what, that was pretty cool. Let's make the city bigger. I feel like it will be a classic game of this style where it's literally there's a key that you need to unlock a gate. So it's it'll go there's a whole city you can explore, except that way, and that way for now.
Yeah.
To go that way.
Man, video games,
that have been focused on like a scary subject matter have been scary in the past, but now that everything looks so incredible, it's like I am terrified to play this.
Yeah, it's genuinely.
Oh my god! The trailer is horrifying.
It is. The reason I'm keen though is because it's definitely, again, we're doing this thing where Resident Evil has reinvented itself with 7 to, as you said, Pete, go back to some of those really core principles of Resident Evil, which is just like slow moving through a location. There's key cards, there's limited save points, and it works really well. And I think they made such a great core with it. This, a lot of people have drawn similarities to Resi 4, which was the one that took place in like that sort of Eastern European village, and is, I would say, my favorite Resi game. It's the one I finished entirely, but it went for a far more action-orientated approach, and that's why a lot of people liked it. So I think I want to play this because I loved Resi 4. It's only going to have some small throwbacks by the looks of it. I'm not sure if you're playing Leon again. I've forgotten again who some of the characters are. It's quite confusing.
I don't know.
Leon was
either.
in 7?
Was he?
How good's this?
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the significance
clever.
of that?
So good.
Very clever.
When do you reckon
There's a little bit at the end of the trailer where they're like, oh, not this bit. Maybe it was earlier, where there's a guy facing the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
And they say the name, like you're meant to know the name of the
Yeah.
character. And I'm pretty sure that was either Leon or someone like Chris. Yeah, it's
Ethan.
Chris. It's probably
Ethan.
Chris Redfield.
Yeah.
Oh, they say Chris, and Ethan was the guy in the last
Ethan
game.
and Chris
That's right, yes.
says
Yeah.
Mazuki.
But again, like, I think it's a very clever move for them for Capcom to make, to go like, let's hit those kind of like touchstones of what people really liked about those games, but we'll do them in this new amazingly, what's the word when it's first person? It's incredibly like
Immersive.
Immersive. Thank you. It's too immersive for me. I don't want to be chased by a werewolf down a fucking corridor. In that sense of an immersion, because it's just, I can't deal with it.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Yeah, and I would say yes, it is a game built around jump scares, but it's also like I found sorry, I haven't played this obviously, but 7 mechanically the fights were actually really fun.
Yeah.
And like in terms of like the survival mechanics as well, when to pot and when to take shots, and the way that the monsters would approach, like they were all very different encounters.
Yeah.
So I think like by the third time you're fighting it, you're like, okay, I'm in a video game fight. The first 2 times you're like, this is fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
So that's really fun for
It's
me. I think the
interesting
balance is
because
good.
I love by the way, I love this Coraline.
It's
art style
great, isn't
thing.
it? Yeah.
I hope that parts of that are in the game.
Super weird.
It's interesting that if you look like at a platformer, generally people, when you look at a new platform that comes out, you're not like, oh god, the jumping is just too realistic. It's just too whatever. Like I don't like that. But I'm with you. I hate horror, and so therefore I don't like. The more that it goes down the path of becoming better horror, then I like it less. But it's actually for the people who like it. It's like, no, what are you talking about? This is exactly what we want. We want it to feel like we're actually in a house because this, like, it's the most terrifying thing you can imagine, but it can't actually hurt you. So you get all the adrenaline. So it's this weird thing of like, people who don't like that game hate it for the reasons that other people love it. Yeah.
And I will say, like, I don't love horror, but I do love creepy storytelling and wonderful settings like this. And
I just don't like being stressed out too much.
Sure,
And
but
this is a very stressful game, and I feel like the fights in it are stressful.
But I also love Eastern take on Western horror and fantasy. So,
That's true.
and that's what I do love about seeing an Eastern developer like Capcom do their Resi games like this and take on that kind of like
Yeah, it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre if it was good. So we make it good for
and I will say, speaking of good, Nacy just rated us with
Oh,
people.
Thanks, Nacy.
Hello to all those people who don't know who we are. So we are. Is this what I do? Do I say now?
guess so. You
Because
go like,
when we
hi.
rate people, they're like, this is what I do. And now I'm like, I mean, sorry, everyone who's just like, normally I would
I
be
think
more
a short
prepared for this.
spiel is appropriate.
Hi, I'm Nick. I identified a lot with Harry Potter when I was a kid. We are Back Pocket. We are a variety gaming talk show from people who used to work in television, and then all their television shows were cancelled. And it was like, well, what are we going to do now? We'll need to make something that can't be cancelled, that we own, and is also owned by all our beloved patrons. So that's what this is.
Yes, and we're currently running through the games that were announced or that were highlighted in the PlayStation announcement from this morning. And we just got to a very scary game where you would die a lot. lot.
And
Well done.
Genius.
Oh, Gus is doing a thing with segues.
I'm
tonight.
practicing the segues tonight.
What you're actually seeing is a hostile takeover where he's trying to host. So that's what this
I know you're going to get cancelled for those Harry Potter comments, so I'm like, ooh, that chair's going to be free.
Yeah, he's going to be in that shit.
Loop, incredibly excited for this.
Yep.
Have been since the beginning. The game with so much style.
It's
where,
very stylish, isn't it?
It's awesome. Has that Hitman vibe, clockwork style levels where you need to kill 8 people over the course of one night, but they're too scattered out, they're too far away. You can't kill them all in where they currently are, so you need to figure out ways to get them closer to each other and kill them in groups and that kind of thing. And it's a cool idea for a game. It's a great style.
Yep.
I'm pumped.
The thing that I like about what this trailer did, and the Resident Evil 8 trailer did the same thing, was like actually told you what the game was going to be.
Yeah.
Because they were both like, here's a mood with their first trailers, and now like, oh, this is what the game is actually going to be.
Because that first trailer I think we saw for this was a cinematic, and it was the two
Yeah.
characters bouncing between time and killing each other and repeating, and it was like, that's a great mood, as you said, but yeah, what's the mechanic here? Which is what we're seeing now, as Nick explained.
Yeah.
And it really does feel like a first-person shooter Hitman, because I wasn't quite sure how it would go, but like, according to this trailer, they were using the example of like this scientist who needs to attend a party that you're going to where a bunch of people are where you want to kill them. He makes a breakthrough, so he won't go to the party, so you need to sabotage his experiment, so he gets despondent, so he goes to the party so you can kill him there. So stuff like that I think is interesting. I'm curious to see how long the game is, because it feels like it could either be a tight 6 hours or they're going to go for like 25 and pad it out.
I feel like it's going to be more concise than over padded.
I would hope so.
It feels like, just because the pace of it needs to be like punchy, and the fact that it's so stylish, I can't see this being a really drawn out experience.
But I wonder how, like, it just looks like pleasing gameplay that you could find yourself coming back for repeat playthroughs, whether or not that's part of the actual mechanic, or whether or not that is like, I really enjoyed that level, I want to go back through and do that again in a slightly different way.
It absolutely will.
Yeah.
I think this will be like a 4-hour game.
Really?
And the whole point of it will be to do the runs better, quicker, and it's going to feel interesting each time because you're going to get invaded by Assassino.
Right, okay.
Like the woman trying to stop you is going to be a human player.
Yes,
So you're going to roll in as either try and finish the game, try and interrupt someone finishing a game, and every game is going to feel different, and you're going to try and speedrun it. And obviously there's more efficient ways to do that as the person
Did
playing.
they announce that today? I had not known that piece of information, that a human can play as the other person who can invade your game, because I know it can be AI as well.
Yeah, I feel like it was implied by the trailer, but wasn't explicitly
It
said.
was explained as well.
But it felt like it was like play as one of these two people competing against each other was the first trailer, my impression of the first trailer. And this is like, here's how that works.
Yeah, it's very cool. Just before we do, Meg's Fire, I think, said this is self-managed, not under Channel 7 or anything. Awesome. No, we're not under the grip of Channel 7 anymore. No. It's very exciting.
I like that it almost has a little element like a weirdest a way to sort of compare it, like feels a bit like playing a Tony Hawk game as a shooter, the way it's like you're linking the combos and movement, and you're keeping this momentum going, and you're kind of on this sort of speed run way through it. That's kind of the vibe I got as like a cool way to make a shooter feel kinetic and fast but fun.
I hope that is the case, and I hope it's easy to get that rhythm going, because I feel like, when you watch a demo and like it looks really slick and the person's like running through all the moves and like popping off all these shots,
doing it perfectly,
and then I go in there and I'm like, oh, and then I run into something, and then I like miss the shot, and then I have to go back, and then I'm just like, oh man, this is not the way this game is meant to be played, and I'm gumbying it up.
Yeah,
you can see the Arcane Studio energy here.
Totally,
like, Dishonored to a T.
It is.
Right.
Dishonored feels great.
And if you string it all together with a real kind of like, just you're making it up on the fly with this kind of devil may care attitude, then you'd be having a lot of fun.
And the final thing I was saying is,
here he goes.
I'm going to wreck it. Don't worry. The final thing that I do hope is that they have the courage of their convictions Well, I'm assuming what their convictions are. I hope they have the courage of my convictions to make a game where you don't get upgrades and you don't get like new powers and find them. That helps, because the beauty of a Hitman, the beauty of an Outer Wilds is that when you do these runs, you gain knowledge.
Yeah.
And the knowledge is the thing that makes... So you actually go, well, there's a world where you can actually solve this game in 10 minutes. But you
need to play it to learn to be good at that, yeah.
15 hours to get there. And I think that just is the most elegant gameplay, and it reminds me of one of my favorite games the last few years. The Sexy Brutale had something like that, where I was just like, God, I just fucking like loved seeing how these systems all just like fed into one another so perfectly. So
yeah,
I hope it does.
Because if it is skill trees and all that kind of upgrades, then it's going to force you to play beyond your actual enjoyment, and you're just going to be left crying. Speaking of crying,
No, guys.
Turn away all the people who joined us because of Nacy.
Devils
Be like,
may
"Fuck,
cry
this is the worst Channel 7 show."
Devils may cry 5 sometimes. I couldn't remember if it was like 5 or 6. 5. I couldn't read the full font.
Is this the thing that we can talk about the least in this?
Probably.
I think so,
yeah, let's speed through this one.
My only thing was I was like, oh,
Anyone want a drink while
look at that Capcom logo over some sexy water and reflections. Oh,
Yep.
Devil May Cry.
Peter has a song he sings that goes, "No one cares."
People like this series. People do like this series.
But I mainly reserved that for the sexy pack shots in between the things.
Sure.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Here's a macro shot of the texture of the inside of the console. I was like, no.
Look, I don't play a lot of these games. I know they're good games, but I don't play this or what's her name? The hair suit.
Bayonetta.
Bayonetta, that kind of like really intense melee combat with over-the-top characters. I see the appeal for the people who like them, but I find them too strange. I find it a bit too much of an odd world they live in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just continue.
Speaking of odd worlds, Oddworld,
No, Gus.
Soulstorm. I'm gonna commit to the end, Stephanie.
I know you are.
Yeah, this is a really charming trailer. Obviously, a long time between drinks for the Oddworld series. And I think it was just a bit of a cinematic that led to some gameplay and another dev that just floated into the game.
There's a lot of long hair going on in COVID.
Yeah, there is.
There is. It really is. But yeah, what we were seeing there was kind of a little crash cut at the end of that old classic Abe Odyssey, thank you, gameplay of looking after a whole bunch of... what are they called?
Abes.
No, they're not called Abes. You're Abe. I forget. It's been so long since I played the old ones.
They are something different.
Yeah.
They must be, because
Yeah,
is a...
and I do say long time between drinks, but there was a game on PS4. There was a new Abe on PS4, wasn't there?
Mudokons?
Yeah, okay.
Mudokons.
Right, that's what they call.
Mudokons.
I feel like there was a bit of an Abe. Was it a redo, a remake, a reskin?
Yeah, there was something that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the first time we're seeing a brand new adventure in that world.
This is the
and
moment of the whole thing. I'm just gonna,
Yeah.
I'm just
It's
gonna
adorable.
this.
Let's get out of here. My tummy's growling. I'm hungry.
Totally.
I love that they're all from
Soul.
like Manhattan.
That voice is always charming.
Yeah.
And always adorable. Manhattan, like the world, where you go for fast talking cabs.
Oh, Joyce.
Hey, yeah, and pizza and that kind of stuff. Speaking of pizza places, Five Nights at
Ninja
Freddy's
Turtles.
is set in a pizza place.
The first
Freddy's
one,
is a
but-
pizza.
It was like a
Cheers.
whatever that American place is.
Yes.
Diner?
No.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, that's what they all were. They're all animatronic Chuck E. Cheese-esque inspired nightmare creatures. And this was Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. I've not played more than the first game. I played a VR version of Five Nights at Freddy's. It was terrifying. I liked the original concept, but I think this is more of the same.
It's got a classic.
I'm just voting on the should Gus get a single poll.
I was going to say that.
No.
Well. A cheap selfie webcam is one of the options.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
But yeah, more of a tease of just locations here. So assuming it's just going to be that mechanic of Five Nights at Freddy's, which is management while you fend off these evil animatronics.
It's funny because
love the
the
series.
trailer actually had some tone and style to it that I don't normally attribute to that game. And I was like, oh, what's this? Okay. And then it ended with Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And just the most horrific thing, can you pause?
Yep, the way they've kept that font.
The font.
But that's been the font. That's been the font since the beginning. So that's what they've stuck with.
Isn't
And
it just the most horrendous thing?
it is. And like even the fact that people love the lore of this game, they love researching
but I feel like
characters.
kids love the lore. I remember
do.
like when I was playing Spawn Point, when I was on Spawn Point, there'd be kids that would always be like, "Have you played FNAF?" And I was like, what?
But then they'd say things like, "Oh, do you know about these character names?" I was like, "I don't know their characters and all the backstory, but whether or not they're all like, I don't know, were they all animatronics that have got like possession?"
They were
they're
at the
possessed?
beginning, yeah.
Yeah, have they all got the souls of demons?
Sure.
No, wait, before you move on.
Oh, no, fuck you. I wanted to make a joke before that. Can I tell you my joke?
Yes, please.
When you were on Spawn Point, I was reading Raymond F. Feist.
Cheers to that.
It's Raymond E. Feist.
Was the F a bit?
No, I was lonely.
Demon Souls.
No, I forgot what I was going to say.
Five
Nights at Freddy's. We played on OG Pocket, the first Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
And you did a classic home screen.
You have a good screen that I cut into a montage.
That
It was a full body screen.
Yeah. I'm sure someone on the Pocketeers
So,
will be able to find that somewhere.
I will say that I've now come around to the idea that I like Gus's transitions. But the one thing I don't like about them is that I now don't trust that anything he's saying to us is an authentic conversation. He engages as someone.
Now you know how we feel when we talk to you.
I am interested in everything you all say all the time. How dare you? You demon souls are now as potentially a launch title, because very conspicuously at the end of the Demon Souls remake, which is this is it. They did not say a launch window, and I was like, oh, they're probably scrambling to get this done by the time it comes out. And then later, after the show, which seemed to be a running theme with a lot of the PlayStation stuff, Jeff Keighley tweeted out, Demon Souls is a launch title for PlayStation 5.
Yep.
To which Austin Walker from Waypoint and Vice Games said, Jeff, why are you better at this than Sony? So very excited. We said it when we saw it the first time. This is one of those games which, for me, I'm like, this justifies the purchase.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, Demon Souls is the first game in the Souls series that really kicked it off from Software. It was out on PlayStation 3, and it was really learning the ropes, but like establishing some solid ropes, which then the Dark Souls, Bloodborne, etc. have come along to perfect. But people have been dying to go back and play the first one, and to the point of booting up old PS3s, emulating it. But it's a tough game to go back to. So what we're looking at now is
Blighttown was absolute dog shit.
Oh, it ran.
There's a poison section in here that gets maybe 3 frames an hour.
Yeah, so we are looking at like pinnacle of remake and reskinning, because this looks absolutely
beautiful.
divine.
It looks. I am so excited because I've never played it.
It does really look like a Dark Souls sequel now, in the sense that I know it's not, but it feels like, oh cool, a new Dark Souls game.
Yes, yeah, that is the feeling of like, and because also Demon Souls is quite hard to play. You need to get a PS.
That's what I'm saying. A PS3.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you did. Yeah. So,
and I got one and booted up and was like, I wasn't having fun. It really did feel that like, oh, I can see that.
It's so hard to go back. I think you have good memories of things being better than they are, but like, it's so hard to go back to a previous generation of console to play a game and enjoy it.
And Dark Souls 1 is one of my favorite games of all time, in my top 3. So I thought, I'll get something out of it, and I just couldn't. Whereas this looks like
everything good gets remastered eventually. It's always worth the wait.
Yeah. My favorite thing about this is how proficient this guy is at playing the game.
He's
playing the game is just like so casually. I mean, obviously there's no HUD on or anything, so they're taking damage through that block and stuff, but it's like this game looks so easy.
Yeah.
Not fair to people who don't know this series, thinking, okay, I'm going to play a really easy hack and slash where you one-hit every creature. It's like, that is not how Souls work.
You know what sucks about like the fact that we're not getting this as like an E3 press conference is we didn't get to see the live demo of this, like the stress of the guy playing this live. Imagine. Oh, it would be so good.
Funny.
But, sorry, Nick.
The real stress, you can hold your segue for a second.
It's not a segue. I want to talk more about this game.
Oh, no, you go then, because my thing.
See, no one trusts you now.
That's true. No, I think mechanically.
Pride segue.
While we're seeing an update to the graphics, incredibly big update, I think they have tweaked some of the mechanics and the movement, I think, because it is just that point of going back to the original game just doesn't play well. So I think some of the movement, the dodge, and the way your character, I think, pivots on one point has been sped up a little bit. So I think, we're not looking at just a reskin. It is mechanically going to be a blend between Demon Souls and Dark Souls, just to smooth that transition a a little bit.
It is font.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. The internet's going mad.
What's that about?
Change that.
Why abandon the serif?
The classic, yeah.
It is interesting to see how much they will have adjusted the combat. Like I've played all the Souls games, I've played all the From Software games except for this one. I think that there will be lots of people like me who have learned to love those games unabashedly. If you're going back to a style of combat that's quite rudimentary compared to how, because they've really iterated on it over
and the fact that Bloodborne and Sekiro have just made everything as fluid as possible.
Yeah, like
go
they
back
really
to that
went for speed, and so obviously like the actual Souls games are slower than your Bloodborne and Sekiro's. But even like if I'm playing Dark Souls 3, the way that they have polished and refined that combat compared to what I imagine Demon Souls was like, it'll be interesting to see if they've made any considerations for the fact that like a huge portion of their audience who get this game will only have experienced their polished combat.
I think the point they're trying to make is that they're trying to just bring it up to date enough that it doesn't feel like, oh, this actually feels outdated in the way it plays too.
I do disagree though that, yes, it looks amazing. Obviously, I'm excited. I love these games. If I only wanted to play this on a PlayStation, there's no way I'm spending $750 to play an 11-year-old game.
Oh, but but it's pushing us across the line of
it's another step in that direction. But still, to me, I don't think either console has a really strong launch lineup, and this is like an exciting thing. But it's like with this, Miles Morales is basically DLC, and
Horizon,
and
Ratchet and Clank.
And Ratchet and Clank is the only thing, and I know I'm going to play that for 3 levels and be like, that's amazing. Yep. This is a kid's game. So like they're my concerns at the moment with this lineup that we saw.
Well, the other concern is the price of this game, which in Australia is $125.
Oh my God.
And that may
where has that come from?
So that's come from EB Games listing. So because in the States they've jumped it up by $10 in terms of the it gone from $60 to $70 for lots of the new gen titles. Here, games, obviously you can find deals, but games we're kind of sitting around 100. Like if you look at the PSN, like new games are like $100.
Yeah.
So then they've added $25 on top of that. Like that is
crazy.
That's very ambitious. A chunk of dollars.
But sorry, Pete.
I was just going to say, like, while we're talking about prices and stuff, because you're in a segue.
No, I want to talk about the game.
No one wants to.
Let me talk.
With the cost of games, like, we know that the experience of this last generation has been that digital games are always full freight, and you can typically get a good deal by going to a JB Hi-Fi or even like a Harvey Norman or EB something.
Ironically, no freight involved in digital. So.
So there's potentially, like, my immediate reaction to those prices of the consoles was like, well, obviously I'll just get the digital one. It's heaps cheaper. Like $150 cheaper isn't insignificant for the same device. And I don't like buying physical copies of games. But if I can get games $20 cheaper at JB Hi-Fi, like across the course of the life of the generation, I'm going to make my money back easily.
Right now, JB Hi-Fi are listing it for $124, so you get it for $1 cheaper. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that is a good point. That if you were, we're in a pretty fortunate position where we get lots of games for free, so I haven't bought any games.
I had such a out of touch moment today when people were talking about whether they were going to buy the disc version or the digital version, and I was just like, why would you buy the disc version? Like, who wants physical games anymore? And people were like, they are so much cheaper when you buy the physical version.
Particularly don't
and I was
the
like,
bargain bin.
Yes, okay.
Within 12 months, AAA games are like half price.
And so if you buy a new console 7 months into its life cycle,
and you buy a game that's gonna, a solid long RPG that you're gonna be able to play for 4 to 5 to 6 months. It's like, you can keep yourself busy until that price goes down.
Totally. You've been trying to talk about this game, but I think you're actually trying to segue us. But what did you want to say?
I've actually forgotten now. I'm with you in the sense that this is the reason I disagree with Pete. I really am happy to let this convince me that I need a PlayStation 5.
Because it's not, did you say 11 years old?
Yeah.
It's not an 11-year-old game. It's a brand new game because I can't play the 11-year-old game and I never have.
Yeah,
so to me, it's like a totally new game.
This is a plus for the PlayStation collection.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you.
PlayStation
collection.
Plus collection.
Oh my God.
Let's see
But also, well done. That was very smooth. I never see them coming. I always get sideswiped.
Don't encourage him.
PlayStation Plus collection. So this was probably the biggest surprise of the whole thing. That PlayStation are. We're not sure how this is working. It looks like they're adding it to your current PlayStation Plus subscription, and therefore will probably raise the price a little bit. But you can download a collection of PlayStation 4 games on your PlayStation 5 that are sort of not remastered, but optimized, I suppose, for the PlayStation 5. These are included it seems like they will be included in the Plus subscription, or there will be an additional fee on top for this, but it looks like they'll be included in the subscription. The list of games are, as it stands right now, the new God of War, Monster Hunter World, Final Fantasy 15, Fallout 4, Mortal Kombat 10, Uncharted 4, Ratchet & Clank, Days Gone, Until Dawn, Detroit Become Human, Battlefield 1, Infamous Second Son, Batman Arkham Knight, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us Remastered, Persona 5, and Resident Evil 7. So it's a big chunk of the PlayStation library, and a lot of those sort of like PlayStation, the ones with the red border, they're like classic $25 that you buy on the digital thing. It's a good chunk of games if you haven't played them.
It's the greatest hits, man. It's like it's actually like the best games of the last generation.
Yeah,
really.
God of War, Uncharted, Last Guardian, loved it so much. Everyone hated it. What's wrong with you all? Those are they are the greatest hits, the best ofs, and
Until Dawn, that was great.
The last.
And Until Dawn, like a game that
was great.
That like gets all like lots of love that it deserves, but I feel like a lot of people just have not played and have kind of missed.
Yeah.
And that if it's free, that's the kind of game that benefits from these.
Persona 5, like a 90-hour game.
Persona 5 is huge.
That's massive. Yeah.
Someone said in the chat, these games are way better than what's on Game Pass. Don't at me, and I'm going to at you. Where are you?
But yeah, what we're seeing here is
it was Age of Doom.
Age of Doom, yeah. Yep. And I would probably agree for the most part that, there are some of the best games of the generation in here. But anyone who's has a PS4 has probably played God of War, Uncharted 4. So there's like
because the newest game is God of War, I think, which was 2018. Yeah. So they're all at least 2 years old.
But again, you've got
there's almost something in kind of the AA of Game Pass of like things where you're like,
I would have bought that, but I want to play it.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah, like because they're greatest hits, you've probably done it.
Got at least half of this in your collection,
and also you're not getting like the new Sony first-party titles day and date, which is what you get on Game Pass, which is the real seller of Game Pass, the thing that makes that.
Yeah, for sure.
But this is a sick deal for someone coming into PS5, PlayStation Plus, and probably hasn't played all of these to get some freaking great titles. When there's a reasonably quiet launch window, you're going to have 3 new things that are great, and then you're going to have the best of the last generation on it as well. That's really cool.
Totally. And that is the thing that that when they announced the Xbox, when they did the Game Pass Xbox stream thing, we're all like, oh wait, where are all the new games? And then we realized they were all Game Pass games, and we went, oh, what they're actually doing is saying you have access to 100 games once you buy this console straight away. And so Sony have gone, well, yeah, you have access to 20 or whatever that like are worth your time if you haven't played them. So,
but again, if you haven't played them, it's not the end of the world.
Yep, but
Ragnarok,
if you will. End of the world. Thank you very much. The end of the whole stream was
we're almost there.
A teaser for God of War Ragnarok, which was very exciting because I adore this. Well, the first game, adore adore this game. Stephanie, how do you feel about this game?
Very excited. I actually never finished the first God of War though, so I will have to do that before this comes out.
I'm the only person here that did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even
You didn't-
play.
I really enjoyed it. I think it just came at a time where there was a lot of games that I was playing, and it was just like,
Well, we were busy getting screenplay cancelled, so like, we were working hard on that.
yeah.
Yeah, the Ragnarok tease here is exciting to me. Like, just adored the first game. A couple of things about this. I have seen some scuttlebutt, some rumor that because when they announced, I went, oh my god, that is a very tight turnaround to make a sequel. That this could be a Miles Morales Lost Legacy situation,
yeah, okay.
where it is
okay.
a big expansion that's actually its own standalone game.
Built
Yeah,
the same
okay.
engine.
that would
Yeah.
make a lot of sense.
Because I was just like, Jesus, that is so fast
For the
this.
level of detail and polish that went into that game,
You'd want to
that
milk
makes a
it for
little
everything,
more
yeah.
sense.
And so it ends with Ragnarok is coming. If we can get
Yeah.
the tweets
Old tab,
up.
so it should be up.
Yep.
because
It'll be on where your boat is.
Sorry.
2
There's my
years
boat,
ago,
guys.
I think
tab.
it's 2 years ago. In fact, I will just double check. Oh, we'll see it when you actually go to the tweets. So Corey Balrog, there we go, April 21st, 2019, did the tweet thread about like making the behind the scenes of this game. And there's just lots of really
Sorry,
interesting...
this game, Ragnarok?
No, sorry, of God of War, sorry.
OG, yep.
And there's just heaps of interesting detail and stuff in these. And a very astute observer pointed out on Reddit, on a thing that did not get nearly as much traction as I thought it would, that if you look at the first letter of every one of these tweets from 2019, it spells out Ragnarok is coming.
Oh my word. Ragnar. Hang on, let's go in enhance.
Oh my god.
Ragnar. I mean, we know how it works.
K.
Oh, okay, that's how Ragnarok is.
C.
How would I lie to you? Why do we have to double check?
Why are we spelling all this? I-N.
That's
there you go.
cool.
Isn't that cool?
Love her.
Wow.
So that's like a year ago that this happened. Obviously, the game was in development, but that means that a year ago this was in development, which means that was a year after the game came out. The first game came out, and so they just went directly
Straight
into
into
it. And so we might need to temper our expectations for the scope of this game, but not for the quality, because
Do you think that is such an obscure thing to hide? Do you think that developer had some friends and one night was like, has anyone looked at our tweets? No? Maybe do. And they all do it. They go, that's great.
Totally.
Maybe look for something else. And just like no one would get that. It's like, first one of every tweet.
I guarantee you that's like Dev's alt Reddit account. That
No one's seeing
did you notice this?
right.
Corey's son.
Totally.
Corey's son is an Xbox S sitting behind him on a shelf.
Exactly. The same person who came up with that. So that's everything that we got in the PlayStation showcase. Oof, that was a lot of stuff.
There was.
a lot of talking. Overall, does it make us more excited, less excited, same excited?
I feel like I'm pretty level.
Yeah,
I feel like not hyped, but not like super underwhelmed. I'm just like this. I feel like it is what it is.
You're just ready.
I'm gonna get both consoles because I always get everything anyway, and I'm just like buying them with the assumption that more games will come.
Yeah,
it will be good.
Not seeing anything else jump out at me made me love the Demon Souls trailer more. Like, made me pour more love into that. So that's what I'm really looking out for.
Yeah. To me, I am always like a bit cynical. You fall into ruts and stuff like that, and then you go to an E3 or these presses have been doing it for me every time. Like, but Microsoft, Ubisoft, Sony, like. It doesn't matter. As soon as they start showing me stuff, I get on the hype train. It's nice.
Yep, totally.
I know.
Games are good.
I was terrible. I was terrible with Good Game. Like, was very much about critique and review and not like succumbing to the hype. And I always succumb to the hype. Whenever I would do E3 trips with Janet, I'd walk out and I was like, that was so cool. And she'd be like, I don't really think it was that cool. Actually, it kind of looks like more of the same. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess. It's just like in the room, the energy, everyone was so excited.
And not to give them a massive plug again, but EB are running pretty similar deals when it comes to trade-in
Really?
for PlayStation 5.
Yeah, nice.
So PlayStation 5 physical, if you're not their member, whatever, if you trade in on PS4 Pro, it goes from $749 to $449.
What's a
and if you-
non-pro?
Non-pro, well, the Slim is $498, and then the original is $529. So it's still $200.
What comes down to $5? Which one?
What
The
do you
disc,
have? What do you
disc?
have?
I have a original non-slim.
Okay, so
In white?
Yep. So physical will go from $749 to $529.
Physical, you mean disc?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
$529, and then discless will go from $500 to $379.
I can't trade mine in because I have a very special one that I can't
Yeah, it's
trade.
too sick.
The gold one or the silver one?
I feel like we're in a very
No,
specific...
I have the like 5
grey
million.
Oh yeah. I know the one
it grey?
you're talking about.
No, it's
No, it's like translucent.
translucent
Purple.
blue.
Oh, yeah,
It's
cool.
sick.
I've got like 4, so I think that I could just stack these together, right?
That makes
They'll
a pro.
pay me to take a.
That's a pro, isn't it? 2 of them stacked together.
Yeah, totally. What it does actually mean is that if you're willing to just trade in your consoles, you can walk into EB with your Xbox and your PlayStation 5
Xbox One X.
Yep,
And
and your
PlayStation 5.
and basically walk out with 2 consoles for the price of one, essentially.
if you bought the Slim and discless.
Yeah, you could basically go, well, for the cost that it would have cost me to get the like Series 1X, I can get a discless PS5 and a slim or a Xbox S, whatever. I'm basically saying you can save yourself the cost of one.
If anyone wants to go to an
trading
EB Games, they can see me confused, standing at a counter, trying to weigh up both my options. I'm sure there'll be a line of people doing that.
And what's the situation with the PS5? The disc edition is backwards compatible,
Yes.
but the digital edition isn't. Did I read that somewhere?
Well, it's probably going to have like disc check, maybe. I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
The PS4 games will be playable on the PlayStation 5, meaning it is backwards compatible. You'll be able to insert physical PS4 discs into the PS5 and play them on next gen. So I think that you can put in the disc and it will launch the emulator, but in order to get the downloadable version of a digital version of the game, like it needs to be supported to be downloaded to that console.
So any physical PS4 games that I own, I won't be able to play on the digital version of the PS5.
No, because you won't. There's not a disc drive to be able to put them into.
Yeah, and I guess...
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I guess it wouldn't be like attached. There's no digital receipt saying this is attached to your account.
Yeah.
Where if you'd bought it on the store, the digital store, it goes like, well, this Hexdef account.
Is that different to the Xbox?
It's the same thing,
No,
that you
Xbox
don't
has
have your like, if you have a physical disc, there's no tying that says you own that disc, so therefore you get a
I'm trying to
free
think
disc
what I actually have on physical disc that.
that you need to replay.
Yeah.
I mean, this sort of stuff does benefit people like myself who sort of moved to digital. A few years ago and just went, like,
I'm so like we had a bunch of games in one of those like plastic sleeve folder things for ages, and then I put it away and then just never touched it.
Yeah.
And we've moved house like 3 times, and every time I was like, I can't get rid of these because I might play them again one day, and then
You know what you need? Unpacking.
You need Rascal the Rabbit. Oh, what his name was.
it was Rascal.
Oh, there you go.
Very much.
Speaking of Rascals,
I'm all for.
I've got nothing.
You got nothing. There you go. I mean, we were going to play Spelunky, but it's
I made a
10:30.
thumbnail.
No, and we said we were going to finish on time tonight,
need
and we
to.
still have to do the post show.
And we still need to do the post show. And
We do have an ad break, though.
We've had some. We do have an ad break. Maybe we should
You
end
keep
with an ad break.
doing
before
you
we-
keep doing these like really elaborate graphics based on the game that we're going to play, and then we never get to play the game.
Oh, wait. Why don't we just play a little bit in the post show?
Yeah.
I'll play a little bit in the post show.
While we talk?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Post show
Like,
cool
we'll
with
do the normal
Great
post
idea.
show, which is
Great
we'll chat
idea.
with you guys.
I'm
I'll play some
alleviated.
games. You get your dick out, and it's all
I've
fine.
achieved.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
All right.
But before we get there, let's throw to a commercial before we then do the out, because I'm just keen to see the.
Oh, is this the one that? Oh, is this the one that I'm in?
We got a new
This
commercial.
is the one that I'm in.
Enjoy.
We got a new ad.
When you're in, let's go. Let's
We'll be back up.
Shenanigans. Shenanigans. Stop it. Shenanigans. Stop pushing. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Shenanigans. 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 Stop it. Stop. Stop it. 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 For shenanigans. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Shenanigans. Shenanigans for shenanigans. Shenanigans. Stop it. Shenanigans. 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 Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Shenanigans. 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 Bullshit. Bullshit.
Is your thumb chafed? Calloused? Does it hurt when you headshot the wizard from the moon? You've probably got Destiny Thumb, a condition that affects 1 out of every 1 Destiny players. Lucky there's Avexia. Just apply Avexia thrice daily to the affected area. Side effects of Avexia may include heart murmurs, heart whispers, heart shrieking, jam tongue, deep vein thrombosis, shallow vein thrombosis, elephantitis, giraffe neck, Truman Show syndrome, me, myself and Irene-itis, the quakes, the shakes, the shake and bake, the bacon snake, the snake and rake, foodborne illnesses including breech banana and chicken Caesarean salad, bulging vein, bungee mane, imposter syndrome, composter syndrome, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, beaver fever, rat bite fever and Saturday night fever, facial blindness, severe facial remembrance, alien hand syndrome, mermaid foot, and in some rare cases, Destiny Thumb. Do not take Avexia if you are also taking medication for Fortnite fungus or Dota Dick.
Scar.
There you go. Thank you very much to Avexia for your top-stitched patronage. Well done on the commercial, you guys. That is some...
I'm a little sore. Too much Avexia.
A lot of people saying Dota Dick is very common.
What is Dota?
It's a common affliction.
When you play a lot of Dota, your penis just gets really large.
Yeah. Don't put cream on that.
So that one and the last one, the Sue Guard one, I wrote drunk at 1:30 in the morning. So I think it shows. Fantastic work, guys. Very impressed with that. That was the first time I saw that ad. I was very excited. So that's what you get for giving us $100 a month.
How great is stock footage?
We have found some weird stuff in stock footage.
I know.
You want to know what we found?
No, please tell me.
You'll have to stick around for the post show.
Ooh, what a tease! What a tease! How did you get the post show?
Well, that was the segue I was going to give you.
I was going to just explode it all out in the main show.
Like a tube of Avexia. So imagine how that works. Steph, how do they get access to the Discord?
Oh, well, you have to become a patron of the show because that's just how it works, you guys. If you go to patreon.com/backpocket, you can subscribe to different tiers, and I believe the $10 tier?
I don't know.
$10.
Which one gets you access?
$5 tier gives you access to the Discord, great community of people. I'm in there a lot, particularly talking about music, the things that I'm watching on TV, and also posting memes and pet pics. There are some great channels in there as well. And if you subscribe at certain other tiers, then you can get other great things like a commercial made about you.
Yeah, because I will... Oh, sorry, Pete.
You can find this selfie.
I'm not in it again.
Ski, everyone ski together.
The $5 tier, you're right, will get you access to the Discord. The $10 tier or above will give you a clean conscience for mooching so much content from us for free. So make sure you go there and subscribe because Channel 7 is always watching. Don't forget. They can't do it. I still have nightmares.
Who has put, because obviously the scroll down the bottom are the names of all of our patrons.
Yeah,
and somebody has put the word Channel 7.
Yeah.
Who are you? Who is that?
Susie.
I don't get that reference. I wasn't involved. I want to know what that's about. Coming up in the post. Maybe not, actually.
All right, well, that is it for the show tonight. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. This was a blast. This was a good chatty night.
It was. Thank you, of course, to the team from... I forgot the name of the company, but it was...
Witchbeam.
There we are.
BMX says, I'm not sure you can call it a clean conscience when what it gives you is the post show.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The dirtiest place on the internet.
I was saying to the guys a couple of days ago, I think we need to, at some point soon, and we'll get Will to do it, Will's watching. Will, surprise. Here's your next job.
Hey.
To cut a trailer for the post show.
I want to do
be able to I'm
doing that.
To be able to advertise the show, because it's like difficult to advertise something that you can't see. But most of it will need to be pixelated.
Will be obscured, pixelated.
Yeah.
Yep, you're not going to see as much, but it will be tantalizingly, it will lure people in, hopefully.
People already reacting to the selfie on the disc.
Look at that.
So many reacts. And it's an awful photo of me, but I put it up anyway.
But yeah, sorry, just to reiterate, thank you to, was it Dan and from Witchbeam?
Yes.
And I've forgotten the other name.
Sorry.
I have as well, and I feel awful because it's began with an E. Oh my God, how terrible. It fell in my head because we said so many other names.
It did.
Tim and
Not Dan.
Wren.
Tim.
I'm so sorry. I could have helped you then.
yeah,
I
me
was
too.
waiting
So
for both of you
distracted
to help, but
by-
you were in your own little world. No,
He was like, thanks to Dan, and I go, and he goes, and I'm like, oh, who is it? It begins with an E, and then it's
nothing begins with an E.
Yeah. Aaron.
Did you just pull the name Dan out of nowhere?
No, I did.
No, he did.
Oh,
Well, you two were busy. And
fucking Segway
King.
prince over there. you anointed yourself a king, and I called you a prince because I am the
very
king.
Well, finally, thank you so much to them for agreeing to talk to us today. It was really lovely to speak to you, and your game looks delightful, and I'm trying to just get it.
Actually, a lot of people in the chat have been saying they would download it and played the demo while watching Back
There you
Pocket
go.
and loved it.
That's
So
awesome.
That's great.
I just want to say that that is up there for me with your alpha wolf howl earlier in the year of like.
Hang on, you want to hear the alpha howl?
Here we come.
I'll say it in the post show.
All right. But the king prince thing that tickled me. Just the right area. All right, we'll be back. You won't see us tomorrow. You'll see this show tomorrow on YouTube.
News on Monday.
You'll see something on YouTube on Saturday.
Saturday we will put up the Last of Us Part 2 look back.
yeah.
So that's all being
That
put
was
together.
the other thing we did this week.
You said that
on Monday night.
Yeah.
That was Monday?
I know, it feels like it was
Monday.
like
4 years ago.
It's been a wild week.
but that'll be up to watch in full on Saturday mid-morning as well. And this episode will be up tomorrow to watch on the YouTube channel, which of course is youtube.com/backpocket channel. So go there and subscribe to get all the Back Pocket goodness.
And a reminder as well that we will be back next Wednesday, not next Thursday next week, because our production company, Low Key, the logo you see behind these people, we have a job on Thursday that we're doing, so we can't do the show. Generally, we work really hard and are 95% successful of being able to avoid affecting our content, but some things just can't be avoided, and so we'll do the show next Wednesday, so you get a little bit of an early treat.
Right.
Yep. All right, let's head into the post show. We'll get some Splunky on. We'll get some story about you doing something.
Probably.
Yeah,
And me howling like an alpha. See you there.
Yeah.